You already know what time it is, man. The young GOAT in the building. Make sure you tune in to Tru Heel Heat podcast.
Oye, te habla tío Sabio Vega. This is Sabio Vega and you watching Tru Heel Heat a mi manera o para la calle.
Check the sound skin. New York, we know where we at. We on the East Coast, but we from the West Coast. But it's all love, dog. Tru Heel Heat. Yeah.
Hey, you fucked it all up.
Yo, what up? You know what it is. It's your boy AJ Francis reporting to you live from New York City, the birthplace of hip-hop. And I'm telling you that I'm only tuned in with Tru Heel Heat Wrestling. Holla at me.
What's going on, everybody? This is your former AEW World Heavyweight Champion. Once a champion, always a champion. Swerve Strickland. Whose house? Swerve's house. You're watching Tru Heel Heat podcast.
Well, yeah. So yeah, he came out. He's in New Orleans. I think he's a babyface. Finally, welcome back, New Orleans. He announces WrestleMania 42 is in New Orleans. Then he makes a STD joke, sings a bit, calls out his friend, Cody Rhodes. We missed that part. I don't know. Did somebody catch that? I feel like I'm missing pages from the book. Then he says, "Be my champion," and then he caresses his face, and then "Be my champion," and caresses his face, and then he wants that, and then he's not talking about the WWE title. He wants his soul. What was that? And why does it feel like WrestleMania build is now better after it? Huh? What? What the fuck? Hello, hello, hello. It is me, your Tru Heel Phenom, SP3. We are live on the Tru Heel Heat YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter for Tru Heel Heat 317 Soul Snatching. Discussing the latest wrestling news, including The Rock returning to, and I quote, take Cody Rhodes' soul. Yep. Speaking of souls, Tony Khan done ghosted Shane McMahon after insane AEW demands. Recap of this week in wrestling with WWE SmackDown featuring The Rock's return. Raw on Netflix featuring Sami Zayn getting his unsanctioned matchup with Kevin Owens. NXT Vengeance Day featuring Jordynne Grace's official debut on the brand. NXT featuring Ricky Starks' name reveal. AEW Grand Slam Australia featuring Kenny Omega and Will Ospreay versus Konosuke Takeshita and Kyle Fletcher's instant classic. Dynamite featuring the excellent MJF and Hangman Adam Page promo exchange. AEW ROH Global Awards, ROH-TV on Honor Club, and some TNA IMPACT Live. Plus, we got our best and worst of the week. Joining me, as always, is the true draw himself, Josh. How are you doing?
Man, you just said worst of the week. I already got one in mind.
Hey, don't you be blaming Dwayne for Triple H. Like everyone blame Dwayne. Dwayne made things better around here.
It wasn't Dwayne.
Okay, fair. Because that show is trash before Dwayne even came out. We got a lot to discuss from this week in wrestling, so we appreciate y'all if you are joining us live. We appreciate y'all if you're watching us on demand. If any of you are joining us from over at the Wrestle Talk YouTube channel, I want to give a big shout out, a big thanks to Luke Owen, who asked me to be on the Wrestle Talk podcast this morning, talking about Friday Night SmackDown from last night, as well as my good brother Mex from Rest Things and WrestleManiac and the Gorilla Position podcast. We had a great conversation talking all about The Rock and what potentially he set up for WrestleMania and everything that went down with him and Cody Rhodes. And boy, oh boy, please believe I'll be a little bit more uncensored here. So we appreciate y'all if you're joining us live. Appreciate y'all for watching us on demand. Remember, the best way you can help us out, or the most simplest way, the free way, is by dropping a thumbs up on this video. It helps out the YouTube algorithm. I think we had almost over 130 likes on last week's podcast. I want to thank everybody who joined us last week, whether you were with us live or watched us on demand for episode 316, one of our highest viewed flagship podcasts in quite some time. So thank you for all the support. And if you haven't already, hit the bell to stay notified. Hit the subscribe button so you always know we're live here. We're live here pretty much 5 to 7 days a week. This week was a little bit lighter of a week with not much wrestling going on as far as previews and reviews, but we got a lot to discuss here on the Flagship Podcast, where we're here every Saturday, 11:05 a.m. Eastern Time. And of course, if you're with us live, you can sound off in the live chat. We love to interact with all of you guys. Hear your thoughts on this week in wrestling. Hear your thoughts on The Rock's return to the WWE on Friday Night SmackDown. You can let us know in the live chat. But of course, if you're feeling generous, you want to give back to what we do here, you want to show your support to the Tru Heel Heat YouTube channel and help us hit our goals for today's live podcast, you can send a super chat donation. Any dollar amount matters. It goes back to the contributors that you see on screen with us here, and we always appreciate the support. Always on our flagship, we'll put a little bit higher of a super chat goal than we usually do on any of our other shows, since this is the most watched. So it's a 15 super chat goal, but I did put to let Josh know if we do hit our goal for today's flagship after tomorrow, because we have something planned on our second channel, we'll come back here on the flagship channel, and for the members, we'll do a Q&A. Me and Jimmy Macaram did a Q&A for AE Ramble. So much fun. Shout outs to Chase, Nikki Boy, Negro Buck Nick Jackson, Power Driver Finisher, anyone who joined us for that live stream. That was a lot of fun. I Make Beats as well. You guys asked some great questions. We got top 5 best mid-card wrestlers of all time. That worked my brain. It took me so much brain power to think of mid-card wrestlers because we had a rule. They couldn't win the world title to be officially mid-card wrestlers. So that was great time. So we can have some more fun tomorrow if we hit our goal today with a Q&A for Tru Heel Heat. But we got a bunch of comments already in the chat. We got Eric Isaacs with us as always. He says, hey, THH fam, what was the most confusing thing in wrestling this week? Thunder Rosa's chair spot, Nia Jax's Annihilator, or Rock wanting Cody's soul? The one that worked my brain the most was definitely Rock wanting Cody's soul. The Nia Jax one, it's like, Nia, you got to do better. You got to do better, homegirl. And then the Thunder Rosa, yeah, that was confusing as hell as well. Well, what would you say, Josh?
I mean, why is this even a question? It's easily fucking Dwayne. Like, what are we doing? What are we doing?
Fair. That is fair.
Could have said that. Could at least sent that in the super chat. What the fuck was that?
We got Davion who says, good morning, THH crew. Can't wait for y'all to shred this disgusting and horrid episode of Friday Night Middown. Hashtag go back to 2 hours. Like this was like the culmination of all bad 3-hour SmackDowns that we've gotten since January 3rd. And then they gave us the worst episode of WWE TV since Vince McMahon was in charge.
I would agree.
Like it honestly, I had a whole debate this morning with my Daily Boys brethren, Alex McCarthy and Sat Iniangi. And Alex was like, oh, I didn't think the Raw on Netflix was atrocious. It just wasn't that good. And I was like, no, I did think that the Raw on Netflix was atrocious. Now I just think the Raw on Netflix was a bad episode. This was atrocious. This was horrendous last night. Like it made me re-rate the Raw on Netflix. I was like, the Raw on Netflix, actually not that bad. It was an infomercial for wrestling, so I graded it on a different curve. This was horrible last night.
Yeah, and it's crazy. The show itself just felt like it was like thrown in last minute, and it showed. It completely showed within the segments. It showed within the pace. Because the pace was all over the place. Like the pace was, I don't know what the fuck was that. That was the worst pace wrestling show.
Like even worse than some of Tony Khan. Because Tony Khan doesn't know how to pace his shows too well. But this was worse.
Yeah, and then there was a part where I knew something was wrong. Like where it went to commercial, came back, a segment, then a commercial again.
Yeah. Yeah. We had that multiple times of video package, backstage promo, match coming up, commercial. They did that like 3 times last night.
Yeah, I mean, it's been a long time. We give people credit. It's been a long time before anybody ripped like an actual WWE show because it's been a while, right? WWE has had shows that are like mid, right? They're not like good, but they're not terrible. And then he has shows that are like, oh shit, this was actually really good tonight. It was actually really fun. So it's been a while before anybody has like really ripped into an episode. And when I saw like some of the after shows last night, I was like, man. What was
that? So if anybody's wondering why I made this face, because you know what I did, Josh? I just looked up what cage match has this Raw.
Oh,
this SmackDown episode. 2.44 out of 10. Holy shit. This is by far the worst rated WWE anything in quite some time. Let me check. I want to see what did the Raw on Netflix premiere get? Let's go back to that. What did the Raw on Netflix premiere get? That got a 5.32. 5.32, and last night's SmackDown got a 2.44.
Seems about right.
Yeah, like this is like, I do agree with you. This is like the most universally planned episode of anything WWE has done since Triple H became in charge.
And I mean, hey, they had a good run. It happens. It happens. Right? When Dynamite has a bad show, people rip into it. No different. Should be no different when WWE has a really terrible show. This was a terrible show. And it's okay to say that it was terrible. Like, because it was. Even a lot of people who are like very pro WWE did not like the episode. And they were very open about it. They did not like the episode. They didn't like it before Dwayne got there. And when Dwayne got there, they even disliked it even more. And that was the reason why they were really sitting there and watching. That was the part. That's why they were really watching. You know, it's crazy to me. But I'm like, you know, for me, obviously I was keeping an open mind because I'm like, what is Dwayne gonna do, right? Now I'll give him credit. He gave me some good laughs last night. I'll give him that. But the overall thing, I'm like, bro, what was this? Like, I know what he's trying to do, but I was just like, man, like, and his last few appearances on TV have not been good.
Nah,
like
this has been the worst of the way. This is the last two, the Raw Netflix premiere and this one. Like, he nuked the WrestleMania plans at Raw WrestleMania at the Raw Netflix premiere, and then this one, he's like, he brought some intrigue back into the road to WrestleMania, but it was just not a good segment. He just rambled on and on. We got our good brother Sir Mac in the chat from the Smart Psychology podcast saying red cups up from the smart side. What's poppin', fam? Good to see you. We got Justin Rich in the chat. A bunch of our friends throughout the channel in the chat today. Justin Rich saying he was drunk. The laughing emoji. The mana was flowing too much. This man rambled. He said be my champion like 8 times in the promo.
Yeah, it was just, I think that was the part that was kind of like over it for me, where he just kept repeating himself, because it was like, bro, like we get what you're doing, we know what you're trying to say, but then it was just like, I don't know, it felt flat. Like the whole thing just felt so flat. You know what I mean? At least like last year, right? Last year there was a lot of meaning, there was a lot of buzz, right? But the segments that he was doing were actually good. Even that segment where he went 40 minutes, that was a great segment. That was an overall great segment. This went 30 minutes and it was not good. And it seemed like more time went by, it got worse. Like it felt like it was getting worse.
It was a 26-minute segment with The Rock in total, from The Rock's entrance to the end. We do have a couple of super chat donations to get through. Thank you so much, everybody, sending their love, sending their support with those super chat donations. First up, we got the King Ellie Show, who says, I need corporate Punk. I think McIntyre's would be too obvious. Yeah, I mean, the big question has become, like, with the whole segment that we saw last night, and we'll get into things when we're going to start off with SmackDown this week, that Rock is basically wants Cody to be his corporate champion. But no one, it seems like the vast majority of wrestling fans don't think that Cody is going to say yes at Elimination Chamber. They think he's going to say no. So they're in for who will become the Rock's corporate champion. And the most popular answers have really been either CM Punk or John Cena. So what would you say, Josh?
I mean, it's very easy. It will be CM Punk. He's already a corporate kiss ass now. Might as well.
I strongly disagree. I think the more interesting option is John Cena.
That would be.
It's the Holly. I know that was you talking shit about Phil, but I think the more interesting option is the Hollywood two-man power play.
It is Cena. Like, that's the most popular one, and that will get a lot of, like, you know, it will make WrestleMania more interesting. Like, if you implement that aspect. Like, I mean, what Cena did at the end of Rumble, like that thing at the press conference, was good. And it had people talking about it, and it had people interested. at Elimination Chamber, but the fact that he basically, forced his way in, and then now you kind of have this aspect, it could work. Like if you pull it off, it could work, and it'll be interesting to see how they pull that off. But yeah, I think Cena will be the smart move. And also because he's not going to be doing many dates anyway, so you kind of, bring him in and out. So I think that would be a good move. Now, is it something that Cena will want to do? I have no idea.
Yeah, that's the caveat here. I think we got our third member of the team, but I see she keeps getting up. So give me a thumbs up when you're ready to come on. I'll wait for her to give me a thumbs up when she's all set and ready to go. There we go. Our third member of the team, the princess of all the true heels, is here with fireworks going off. Miss Krssi Love.
That's the thing. Oh my God! First of all, I didn't know that's the thing. I know you do the hearts, you get hearts. Now when you do thumbs up, you get fireworks. Great job. Hey guys, sorry for my tardiness. I got kids and stuff, and things be happening. Life is life. Yep. So the boss, The Rock, is in charge, and he's flexing all his power. Love it. Great job.
He is back, baby, to take some soul.
I know. I want your soul, bitch. That's what he should have said.
No. You said, I want your soul. I want your soul. Correct.
It's like, okay, Mark.
You gotta
caress your own friend.
It's like, okay, Mark Calloway. Okay, Mark Calloway. Okay.
Gonna caress your face. I want your soul.
I want your soul. I didn't see anything else, but I saw that.
Yo, you bring up the other part that people went crazy about, and they were like, "What the fuck?"
What? What do you mean?
They pressed the pulse button when he kissed him on the cheek. Yo, man, people were just like, "Hey, yo, what's this?"
He kissed him on the cheek.
Hey! I'm not. Love is love. I'm
a
fan of love. Vala B with a super chat donation. Thank you so much, Vala B, for the support. He says, waiting for the David Lynch version of that segment. Cody looked like the shrooms kicked in. I like what came out of it, but the segment was ass. Yeah, that's the thing. Like that's the whole thing that people like this segment is very much a nuanced segment. It has layers to it. The execution and how it went down, yes, it was bad, but it has everybody talking about the possibilities for what this segment meant. So that in that case, it was good. It was both baffling and compelling at the same time. I've never seen a segment.
Yep. Exactly. And it was long and weird, but the information and the ending of what you got afterwards is what made the segment.
It feels like for the first time since like the road to WrestleMania was supposed to start at the Royal Rumble, I have some intrigue and I'm captivated about what's gonna happen next.
Right, because last week was like, fuck WrestleMania.
I was like, I'm still waiting. I'm still waiting on it to start. I made the joke over on Wrestle Talk. I was like, I feel like one of the people, one of the contestants on the Traders UK who waits for the train to pick them up so they can go to the castle. But we're still waiting on the train. The train hasn't even came in the station.
It don't feel like the season, and we're at Elimination Chamber. We're a month away, guys. Like a month. No, not even 2 months now. Excuse me. Yeah. 2 months away from it, and yeah.
Sunny Nev saying, here from seeing you with Luke. Thanks for joining us. He says, I'm real interested in hearing your overall take of the show. I have a lot to say about this show last night. And I mean, spoiler alert, I think I agree with Vala B. Worst SmackDown in years. It just was. These 3 hour SmackDowns have been a drag, but this feels like the culmination of it. And they gave us he probably had plans going into this SmackDown, and then Dwayne said he was going to be on the show, so he ripped up the plans and couldn't come up with new ones that were better.
Yep. Last minute.
And I agree with I Make Beast. Luke is funny as fuck. Best on Wrestle Talk. He's one of my good friends from this wrestling media game. And we got another super chat donation from Chuck Berries. Thank you so much, Chuck Berries, for the support. He says, good morning, THH fam. I may be in the minority on this. I'm at least intrigued as to if or how WWE works this. Suppose Cody heel turn angle. And yeah, I've been hearing like a small portion of the fans thinking that this will lead to a Cody heel turn. Krssi Love, what do you think about the potential of corporate heel Cody aligned with The Rock?
I wouldn't mind it, but I just want to know how it's going to be executed. I don't. Josh is like, hell no. He's like, nope. He's like, nope. Look at he's
and
like,
it's not. And I'm saying no because it's not something that I don't want to see because I love Cody's heel work. If you watch Ring of Honor,
right?
That's like that's
great work. Yeah, that's what made him him. Yeah,
that's Pete Cody. The last the 6 years he was gone from WWE, but because the way the business works now, it's just I don't see that being a thing. Unless,
same thing. They're gonna.
I don't see that being a thing unless there's something that they do that could not only work, but it keeps Cody like on top. I just don't see. Realistically, I don't see it happening. I think it's gonna be somebody else, especially the way they kind of teased it. Imagine he ends up saying yes. It's gonna be even more kind of awkward because it's gonna be like, where the fuck does all of this come from? Last year, he wanted to kill the man. He fucking annihilated him on that fucking Raw segment.
Yeah.
And then now all of a sudden they're like in this spot. It's just weird. It's like you know what I mean? Kind of like if Thanos or like Tony Stark joins Thanos, and it's kind of like, where the fuck did this come from? Like, why is he joining him? You know what I mean?
Tony Stark joined Thanos after Civil War when he found out that Winter Soldier killed his mom.
Yeah, I mean that would make more sense, but it was like
that would be
their mothers became friends, and then that was like,
yeah, I was like, he put the picture of them after WrestleMania. I was like, where's this going, bro?
I was like, what? I was like, he was like, it wasn't enough that he did the whole segment on the Raw on Netflix premiere where he said, oh no, we're friends now. We're cool now. I mean, he had to double down on it and have Mama Rose and Mama Rock posing together.
Yeah. And then it's like every segment.
You came to Moana. You came to Hawaii for the premiere. Like, bro.
Right. So like,
okay.
And then also.
What else you want to tell us?
Yeah. And then for me, like. For me, is like also like every time they're together, right? So every time like The Rock and Cody's together, right? Obviously, you always see The Rock like little bros, Cody, right? But my thing is, it's not even just like a normal little bro thing. It's like the fucking Rock is like big brother, like completely. Like The Rock is like 30, 40 years old, and while Cody is like 5 years old every time they're in the ring. Like even yesterday, his facial expression.
He just has to listen to The Rock go on and on and on.
Like even the facial expressions where he was just like about being like my champion, and then you see like the Cody's face, like he's kind of like quote unquote blindsided, and it's just like, bro, the fuck, like what are you doing? Like he's fooling you, and you don't even see that. He's fooling you. The Rock is an actor, people. He's fooling you.
Yep.
You don't believe him, Cody. Don't believe him. We got Kid Cutty with a super chat donation. Thank you so much for the love. He says overreaction much with a frown or side eye emoji and a thumbs down emoji. I don't know if he's talking about any of us specifically or just talking about the wrestling community. I don't think it is an overreaction to say that was the worst episode of SmackDown. I think that we will see some overreaction from fans in regards to Rock being involved because The Rock kind of steers up emotions in that way. You're not going to get you're not going to always get someone that's kind of like me, who I laughed at how baffling and confusing that segment was, and then I wasn't upset. I wasn't upset about it. But then I thought about all the different options that this set up, and it's a lot more interesting for Cody than what was Cody doing. Cody was having yet another feud with Solo Sikoa before The Rock showed up. So like Triple H did not have a lot of things for Cody to do in the lead up to WrestleMania, in the lead up to Elimination Chamber.
That's the whole fact.
We needed The Rock to come in here and cause chaos.
He's basically saving the whole Cody side of the whole WrestleMania.
Again.
Again. I mean, I didn't want to say, but you know, again, yeah. And he said and The Rock said himself, "You changed last year." Oh no, like that's you, not me. We already had this in the bag, but no, you wanted to like do everything your way. Now
You told them hell no. So now, I want you to be my champion. We also got Negro Bug
That
Nick
part.
Jackson, who says pacing was that bad. Holy shit! This sounds like a Vince show. What are we doing? The pacing was some of the worst paced professional wrestling I've ever seen. The fact that we went commercial, video package, backstage promo, commercial, then match, then entrance for the matchup, a video package, the first part of the matchup, and then another commercial. Then we finish the matchup. We go to another commercial right after the matchup ends. Then we come back from that with a Alexa Bliss video package. We go backstage to Naomi and Bianca having an interview about their matchup. And then we went right back to a commercial. This was disgusting.
Yeah.
I am up at 3 a.m. in the morning watching this show. And I'm just like, what type of decisions did I make with my life?
Not with the type of decisions you made.
Yo, I know every beat on the Raw on Netflix ad read song that they do. They do like a whole ad read, and you see the superstars making their entrance and stuff like that, and boom, 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 boom. I heard that the freaking so many times last night. Oh my god. I felt like I was watching more of that ad read than I was watching wrestling. There was an hour between matches on this show.
How many matches was on last night's show?
I don't even know. We just looked up. We just looked up what it got rated on Cage Match, Krssi. 2.44 out of 10.
That sounds about right. It's been like that for maybe like 3 weeks now.
Oh, and
no. They've been giving us a bang in the middle 5 and 6 out of 10s on these 3-hour SmackDowns. They've been bad, but not objectively horrible like last night.
Okay.
Fair. We got Big Hero Chris in the chat. Thank you so much. With another super chat donation, he says, "Protect your souls from the Rock." He's the real soul snatcher, not Soul Ruka. It's the Rock.
He says Soul Ruka.
Soul snatcher. Soul snatcher. Bella B says, "Yeah, even Drake fans didn't like this episode."
Damn.
Not even Drake fans. Oh my god, I can't.
The Rock did give a shout out to Kendrick Lamar in that press conference, that post media scrum last night. So, yeah.
True. Davion says, "We shred a bad episode of TV no matter the company. We don't bias over here." Davion, he knows. He's a part of the community. We shred it if it's WWE, if it's AEW, if it's New Japan, TNA, NWA. We don't even talk about them. But yeah, everybody else have a bad show. We gonna rip it apart here. And except for one person. Yes, Wallaby. Yeah. I literally said it because he was way too quiet while we were all bashing it in our chat. I was like, "Yeah, I'm just waiting on Romeo to finally wake up."
Just so you know, he's been off the grid since last night. Like, he has not been in the chats.
Really? He dropped.
He was he was there like in the beginning of SmackDown, and then all of a sudden disappeared. Like, he has not responded in the chats. He has not said nothing. He has not, he went rogue. So
interesting.
He
dropped off. He was like, "I can't even defend this shit. Let me just go. Let me just
and
go."
2 hours before, 3 hours before, The Rock fooled y'all.
Yep. He was all for it.
He was all like saying shit like he ain't coming. He not gonna.
I was like, "Oh yeah, he definitely fooled us." So yeah, we thought we were getting a great segment. He's like, he fooled us, yeah. And that aspect. Sure. Like, if that's what he meant, sure. Because, I mean, like I said, I went in not knowing what to expect because, again, The Rock's, his last few appearances have been either bad or they've been kind of just suspect because, like, Netflix on Raw, that was really, it wasn't great because he nuked whatever plans they had, right? And then NXT, while it was funny to laugh at him, he fucking showed up drunk. Like, he was all over the place to the point that it was like he forgot he was on NXT.
They was drinking Terramana for 2 hours, so
like he cut like I don't know how long he was out there, but he mentioned like NXT maybe for like 2 lines or some shit, and then everything else was just like he was all over the place. Like, like it was funny. Don't get me wrong, it was funny, but it was just like I was like, Dwayne, your daughter's there. Like, come on, bro. Like, make him look bad.
We got Kid Cudi who says Cody would have been battling Cena or Punk, so I think he would have been straight laughing emoji. Yeah, but they're not around every week, so he's kind of just been in the wind, and Cody's been dealing with freaking Solo Sikoa again.
Yeah, Punk was facing Cody. Well, regardless of anything, Punk was not going to face Cody. I didn't see that being a real indication for WrestleMania. At least for me, like that was never. I didn't really see it. And then obviously what happened at the Rumble kind of confirmed that, and it kind of showed where that angle was going with Punk. Some people like it, some people don't. It is what it is.
See, I'm kind of with a Kid Cudi here because he says at least we got a real bad episode, so people would know the difference now. People online been complaining about okay to good episodes for a while now. No, that last part I don't agree with. People have been complaining because those okay to good episodes to you, Kid Cudi, are kind of boring. They're kind of boring. Like Triple H's way of just having a perfectly fine episode of wrestling television. It's not what I would call good episodes of wrestling television. It was what I would call perfectly fine to fair episodes of wrestling television that are very much boring and not very fun to talk about. I said it on Wrestle Talk. I will say it here to both Krssi and Josh and all of you. WWE and wrestling in general, wrestling in general is a lot more fun to talk about when WWE gives us some trash.
Yeah.
When WWE gives us some trash or gives us something chaotic, it's much more fun to talk about.
Yep. Something that's not planned or off the rails and like foolishness.
Because WWE is not perfect. And for a while, people think that's how they kind of been treated. They kind of been treated like they've been put on this giant pedestal that, hey, WWE can't do no wrong anymore. Even with their mid episodes, hey, they can never do wrong. And that's why I'm like, hey, it's been a while. People are ripping into it. I'm like, it's been a while, and it's not like
it's been falling off, and it's just like, and it's getting stale and it's getting stagnant. We're just like, okay, like it's not fun to watch. It's just becoming okay, like we got to watch an episode.
You know what it is too? It's because we
gotta report it. So,
but you know what it is too? It's the fact that WWE has put this idea in your head that is like, hey, this is must-watch TV every week. They put this thought in your head. They do it on social media. They do it on TV. They do it every time they want to be cultural vultures. They do it all the time, and yet they give us mediocrity. That's why people are frustrated. Because it's like you're overselling what you're trying to give us, and it's like, what, we can't criticize it now because it hasn't been top notch. Like there's no episode that in a while that I'm like,
right,
wow, this is must see TV. Like it's getting to, even when I watch Netflix, like I watch it because we could discuss, right? That's why I watch it. So if somebody tries to do that, but you still shut the fuck up. This is why I'm on a podcast, because I got to talk about what I see, right? And I'm doing my due diligence so I could watch it, so I could critique it, right? So and it's like, if I'm doing that, at least I'm giving my fair thoughts. I'm giving my fair criticisms when it comes to that, right? Because I don't want to be one of those, and I see Netflix, and then it's like I turn it off, and then I'm talking shit. I'm like, I didn't watch it for 2.5 hours. I saw like the first 10 minutes and I turned it off. I don't think that's fair. So I sit there and watch it. I actually watch it, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, if WWE is selling me this product, they're telling me like this is must-see TV. We're the hottest brand, right? All this shit, right? Triple H over fucking selling the bullshit that he's selling us, and I'm getting mid TV. Then it's like, what the fuck? You know what I mean? Like, it's just, it's not good. It hasn't been great.
Yeah,
right?
I said it. I said it over on Wrestle Talk. I'll say it here again. Like, I think that Triple H since SummerSlam has given us very boring television. Like, there's some highs, there's some good parts. Like, I thought the build to Royal Rumble was really good. I thought Royal Rumble was great. I thought Survivor Series was really good, but the overall feeling of like just like slow, drawn out, not a lot of noteworthy stuff happening on certain shows. Crown Jewel, I didn't think was a very good pay-per-view. Bad Blood, outside of Punk and Drew, I didn't think was a very good pay-per-view. Like there's been multiple times where I'm just like, y'all still liking this? And I agree with the statement that's said here in the chat of the honeymoon. It was Sunny Niv. He said this over on the Wrestle Talk chat. He says Hunter's gotten a pass on his booking for the past 2 years. Now the honeymoon is over.
Yep.
We've been saying it, and you know, like to SP3's point, right? When it comes to a booker, right? Basically the pass kind of thing. Whereas like a booker has basically like 5 good years before they kind of fall off the wheels. The reason why now it's becoming faster, kind of like 3-year period. And this is kind of the 3-year period for Paul. The reason why is because they're producing more television. So while you're producing more television, your ideas is going to get, they're going to get there faster. They're getting
stagnant. Yep.
So it's like, you know, that's why it's becoming a situation where, you know, people are still going to give Paul a pass because, you know, they're Triple H fans. You know, they see the great.
They're trying to give him give him the benefit of the doubt and like,
and they kind of overlook a lot of things when it comes to that just because of his, you know, of his resume, which I get, right? Which I get. But at the same time, it's like if somebody's not having a good run, just say he's not having a good run. It's okay. Like, you know, we see.
No, you don't have to like keep making excuses, and I think they keep making excuses for him and Sean.
It's like in sports, it's like in sports, right? When somebody comes up with a good team, right? There's a good GM or whatever the case may be, right? They give, you know, fans give them a chance, and while they start struggling, then it's like, oh, fuck you. Like, I don't want to see this shit. Like, for example, I'll give you an example. Like the New York Giants, right? When they hired the new GM, everybody felt good about it. Everyone's like, wow, like this is a fresh start. This is a fresh face. Then he hires his coach, right? Then there was a culture that was being built, right? Now we were in year 3. Giants were one of the worst teams in football, maybe the worst. And now everyone's like, I want this fucking guy out of here because they didn't re-sign Saquon Barkley, right? Shit happens. People kind of change, you know, and then it's like it's okay to say when they fuck up. And even though I personally like the GM beforehand, he's been fucking up, and it's okay to say that he's been fucking up. The team sucks, right? So when it comes to Triple H, like his booking is not perfect, and I don't think it's ever been perfect, even to begin with. I've always had like issues with his booking, but it wasn't bad because again, what he was doing, even like the minimum, was still better than what Vince was doing, what Vince was producing. So it was kind of like one of those things too. It was a bunch of, I don't want to say people were wearing blinders, but it was the fact that whatever Triple H was doing, it was just better than Vince. And you didn't even have to do much to be better than Vince. And now we're at a stage where WWE, a lot of eyes are on WWE worldwide. And if you're just going to give us mediocrity, then it's like, you know, what the fuck gives?
Yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot. And and even that this week, the woman putting Papa H on blast. We're gonna get into that as well. I disagree with Myron Kid here. He says, to be honest, the only wrestling show that has been must-see so far this year has been NXT. AEW is starting to get there too. I agree with the AEW is starting to get there too. I think NXT is starting to get there as well. The only show that's been well booked, the only company that's been well booked this year, in my opinion, is New Japan Pro Wrestling.
Yep. Yeah.
Because I'm sorry, Myron Kid. I'm not about to be up here supporting Shawn Michaels coming off of last week when he had a black man lose a strap match in Black History Month. Fuck you, Shawn Michaels.
Yeah, and then also with NXT, like again with NXT, right?
That part.
Everybody knows I don't like.
No. He had a black man lose a strap match in Black History Month.
But you know what's crazy? We picked a black man to win, and it was.
And we picked him to win. Yes, yep, we sure did. And look, he's still.
I was like, oh, what was it I said in the chat? I was like, damn, like Namor beat a black man. I was like, Wakanda Forever all over again.
Exactly. This is Wakanda Forever, like the midway point of Wakanda Forever all over again.
I was like, what the fuck? I was like, what the hell? But the thing is with Shawn Michaels, right? With Shawn Michaels booking, you could say, like I've always kind of like, I've never really liked his booking. Like I don't hate it, but I don't like it because like Shawn Michaels relies on like like stuff that worked for him. He kind of relies on that stuff that he did back in the day. And then, but then also with NXT, sometimes they have these shows where it's like, it kind of feels like, oh shit, right? They built a card. It feels like it's must see. And then in the following week, it's kind of like, all right, we're just there. Like you could just, we're not doing nothing. We're not doing much. Right.
Patrick Bell says, but hold up. Black History Month doesn't mean or shouldn't mean an automatic win though. No, we're not saying that. We're saying in a strap match with a black man, that shouldn't even be happening in Black History Month, let alone him lose the strap match.
And then who he lost it to.
Of all people.
And especially if you're building that black man to probably headline your biggest show of the year, then that doesn't make any sense at all. But we need to get into the actual show here. So we want to shout out everybody on our Tru Heel roll call. And we start off before we get to what we missed. Tru Heel Trinity over on our Tru Heels group page. You got number 3, Lucky Bowden. Number 2, Vegas Bad Boys of Podcasting. Number 1, Stewie John Palmer. Our Patreon backers, you got Vala B, you got Alan Weinstein, you got Negro Buck Nick Jackson, Alex McCarthy, Professor Chris, Trey, Robert, Steve, Ladarius John, aka Russell Scopes, Dan, Kobe, Dolores, John Martin, DJ Eric, Marcus, Ryan, James, Alan, and Santo. Thank you so much for supporting us over at patreon.com/Tru Heel Heat. $3 a month to get you exclusive content. The best place to support us when we are not live here, and you always get your name shouted out on our roll call. But without further ado, let's get into what happened last night, Friday Night SmackDown, because boy, oh boy, did The Rock show up and do a couple of things. The show featured The Rock returning to announce that WrestleMania 42 is coming to New Orleans, Louisiana in 2026. Then he called out he called out his former rival, now friend, Cody Rhodes, the undisputed WWE champion. They went over them becoming friends since WrestleMania 40. Rock then stated he wanted Cody to be his champion and would be at Elimination Chamber on Saturday, March 1st in Toronto to get his answer. Rock ended the segment by telling Cody that he wants that. Cody thought that he was talking about his WWE championship, but instead, The Rock was talking about his soul. Meanwhile, we had one of the worst episodes of Friday Night SmackDown ever. Member of the star-studded Elimination Chamber matchup, Drew McIntyre lost to the other Uso, Jimmy Uso, in an upset win in the opener. Post-match, McIntyre did get his heat back by attacking Jimmy and laid him out with the Claymore. Meanwhile, you had Tiffany Stratton was in action, going one-on-one with Candice LeRae, getting a victory here. Post-match, Nia Jax jumped Tiffany until Trish Stratus tried to make the save, but apparently Trish can't make the save for Tiffany because she got beat up again, as Nia and Candice got the better of them, with Jax hitting the worst annihilator ever on both women, and then Charlotte Flair standing over Tiffany, teasing their WrestleMania matchup. You also had Liv Morgan was supposed to go one-on-one with Naomi. Before the show, the match was reportedly scrapped. Then as the show started, it was announced again Then we got the matchup, and it was actually scrapped because Liv Morgan and Raquel jumped Naomi and Bianca during their entrance, and it was about a minute and a half segment. Then you also had, speaking of tag teams, you had DIY defending the WWE Tag Team Championships against Pretty Deadly. That went to a no contest after the Street Profits jumped both teams, jumping both duos. Sorry about that. Jumped both duos, and then the Motor City Machine Guns tried to come out to fight them off, but the Profits got the better of them as well. Profits looking strong here in their new semi-heel characters. Then you had also Mello Don't Miz. The Miz and Carmelo Hayes, our new favorite tag team. They got a win over R-Truth and LA Knight, who I'm pretty sure is being punished for what happened at the Royal Rumble at this point. But Mello Don't Miz looks good here. And then we also had you had Damian Priest and Braun Strowman defeated Solo Sikoa and Jacob Fatu in a pretty decent main event after another miscue between Solo and Fatu, with Jacob super kicking Solo this time, and Priest and Strowman picking up the win in the main event. That was originally supposed to be a 6-man tag before Cody was removed from the matchup to do the segment with The Rock.
Interesting.
Holy shit. This episode of SmackDown, like, what was that? It's like, what really was that?
Nails in your eyes.
It felt like I was jumping off the Empire State Building and I went headfirst into a nail into my eye.
It's because
like none of the matches mattered. The only one of the few matches that we got a finish for was Candice and Tiffy, which was way longer than it needed to be and just made Tiffy look weak as the champion in comparison to Candice.
I think making her champion was a mistake.
Yeah,
I wouldn't say that. I wouldn't say that. I think there's
a lot of botches too. There was
a lot of botches throughout the night. LA Knight with that tilt-a world where he just dropped Miz. Shinsuke Nakamura's interference where he doesn't kick him in the back and LA Knight still goes into the ring post. Like, yo, this was like objectively, this was, I said, I'll say it again. Like, this was like this whole episode was like a honey cove of botchamania.
I wonder if when they get a botch and they do like a bad botch, do they get in trouble? Does someone talk to them like, yo, you know what you did out there was like really like terrible, right? Like, do you get fined? Like, I like inquiring minds want to know, like, when you fuck up that bad, do you get in trouble?
From what I've been told, they don't get fined, but they do get talked by like the agent. Apparently, like the agent will like let them know what they messed up on. Now, when it comes to WWE, I just don't know. I mean, now compared to like what they were before to now, I don't know. I think they just try to save face, so they probably do still tell them. But for the most part, they mostly try to save face at this point. So even if they was to report it, like put a report out there, they're like, oh, you know, there's no heat on this person. There's no, you know, they try to cover it up more so now. But yeah, things are not looking good for LA Knight when it comes to everything. Because even
it really feels like, yeah, you were on point. You were the first person that said that to me, and I was just like, yeah, it looks like he's like stuck in mid-card hell right now.
Yeah, I saw you write that, and I was like, it makes sense though, because of what he did. He thought like, you know, I'm okay. He's like, listen, I'm gonna go out there, I'm gonna do this. Okay, no problem. I'm gonna just do my own thing instead of like going on what was rehearsed or what was said to do. And he was like, I want to shine, and then you want to do that to me? No problem. You're gonna do it, and now you're being punished now. I don't know how long you're going to be punished for, friend, but maybe till after WrestleMania.
It's usually months.
I do agree though. Mello Don't Miz is a good name.
It's a great name. No.
It's a great name. It's a great
Don't Miz.
I feel bad for Mello to be stuck with the Miz, but I like the name.
But it's something for him to do. What was he doing? What was he doing before that? Yeah.
You're right. He wasn't doing anything. So I mean, it makes sense, and he's been on TV every week.
The pairing makes sense. It's just more of because Miz is just not that kind of guy anymore.
Right, exactly.
I think that's what it is. But the pairing itself kind of makes sense. Like it's a good pairing because even the name itself, I do think Miz could help Melo in a sense of like, you know, character development, promos and stuff like that. Even though Melo has gotten better at those things, to his credit, he's gotten way better at that. But I think being like basically paired up with Miz, you know, kind of Miz taking under his wing, it could do some things for Melo.
Yeah,
make him a better heel because you know Miz is a good heel when he did do, you know, be the heel, so it can definitely help him and develop him for sure. It's like daycare.
Yeah, I see some people saying Street Profits was the best part of the show. I'll be honest with y'all. I like the Street Profits and I like them looking strong the way they did, but I was already tapped out of the show by then. Like that was after the Rock segment. So I was already tapped out. So I could not care for that. But I did wake up for Kevin Owens. Kevin Owens was the best part of this entire dog water show because Kevin Owens stalking Sami Zayn at his house while he's in there with his wife and kids is just my type of deranged. It's my type of deranged heel.
Yeah, and you know what's crazy? That you bring that up, like you bring up that whole thing with KO. That was like the fan reaction. I saw people who absolutely loved it, like people loved it, and then there was kind of people that were kind of like, "Oh, this kind of thing is getting like redundant with WWE." Of like some people going to people's houses and shit like that. I think some people were kind of like on that aspect criticizing it. Me personally, I thought it was just more funny because it's like for one, this bro don't got a ring camera, like you don't got a ring camera. And then two,
listen, not everyone has a ring camera.
You can't hear Kevin. You can't hear KO cutting a promo outside your damn window.
Soundproof. Soundproof.
He's that soundproof.
Yeah.
Wasn't the window open or something? Or like the window was I don't know, because I remember when they show like the family, I was like, yo, what the fuck?
Soundproof.
Like,
soundproof.
Come on.
And he zoomed in. He zoomed in. He way far away. You're on the opposite end of the house, basically. Like y'all are thinking way too much into this. And anyway, I was more thinking about.
No, it was not funny though.
He probably did this promo. He probably did this promo and then went inside, showed Sami and his wife, like, look how good this promo was. And then his wife told Sami and Kevin, "Come on, boys, time for dinner."
Right.
Not for me. That's why it was funny for me, because it's just more like the little things, like
bless you.
Complaining. It was just more funny. It's just more funny because it's more of like the logic thing of it. Because remember, like when Triple H broke into Orton's house, like when that whole thing happened, when he broke into his house and he threw over the window and shit, and they're like, if you knew Triple H is like going after you and he's like going your way, why didn't you just leave the house? Like, why didn't you just try to go somewhere else?
Yep.
So it's shit like that. That's what makes the whole concept funny, because it's one of those things where it's like, logically, it should make sense, but then it's like, bro, you just set yourself up. Why did you do that to yourself? Like the whole thing when Seth Rollins did for Edge, right? And then Seth Rollins just went in. Bro, why didn't you just lock your door?
We got Bala V who says, once again, I need to bring up Andrade got divorced so hard he became a devout dad. Yeah, Andrade. I don't know, man. I don't know. I just don't know. I don't know how his career is gonna go now that he's divorced. Yeah,
he did some stuff.
He did some stuff. And she probably negotiated the whole deal with him coming back too. And now look.
She was probably a big factor of why he came back too.
Yep. That's a whole fact.
Now you stuck, bro. Oh well. Did to yourself. You did that to yourself.
That's a good question. Davion asking, what is the best wrestling home invasion? I think it's still Austin and Brian Pillman.
It's still Austin and Pillman, and for me, it's like all for the wrong reasons. But the way they did that off, it looked real. Like it looked, it looked like legit. Like that one looked like it looked organic. That's what I loved about it, and the whole aspect of fucking Pillman take out the gun. That was insane. You just
they built it up. They built it up so well, and it wasn't obvious. It wasn't even obvious Like the Triple H Randy Orton one that some people might mention, that was too obvious right from the start. Right when they're doing an interview with Orton with his fake wife in his house, I'm like, oh, Triple H is probably going to show up and invade the house because I've seen this before. I've seen this movie before. But the Austin one was the first time I've seen the movie.
Right.
Yeah, and then I think it was like the over voice too, like the screaming. It was like a fake voice that they used. It was just like, it was entertaining, but it was just like, if you compare it to Austin and Pillman, I mean, it's uncomparable because even when the whole Pillman thing happened, when he was talking, it looked like he was like in the news, like he was talking like on the news, right? And then he pulled up, that's when he was just like, oh, if he comes to that door, that's when he took out his gun and shit got real. Like, it looked good. Like, to me, like, again, it was one of those things, like you said, like, because it was organic that it felt like you were watching the movie for the first time. Everything else just feels like a rehash or they're just trying to copy that.
Yeah, I would go Austin invading Pillman's home. Then I would go what Vala B has here, Hangman Adam Page invading Swerve's childhood home to burn it down.
Yep.
And then I would probably go.
We didn't see that one coming.
No, we didn't see that. No, we kind of did when they show him buying the house. It's like, shit! If they're gonna do the thing, are they gonna do the thing?
That one was like a good, like, because like that.
It was a good. You saw it coming. It was
because
you were like, yeah.
Because it was just us like talking shit. Because like it was like when they showed like Swerve like he bought his childhood house, they played into that, and then we were like, oh shit, Hangman's gonna burn his house tonight. And then when it happened, it was like, oh shit. They actually did it.
Oh, it's so good. It was so good. Then I would go Triple H Orton, the Triple H Orton home invasion, and then I would probably go Swerve invading Hangman's house because that sets up the burning of the house.
True.
But yes, some good home invasion there. That was a good question. Keep coming with those comments in the live chat. Keep coming with those super chat donations. But yes, we got to talk more about The Rock, of course, obviously. The Rock actually had a press conference after Friday Night SmackDown because that's exactly what we needed is more Rock. The Rock said that this segment with Cody Rhodes on SmackDown may not even lead to a match and discuss New Orleans hosting WrestleMania 42. The final boss appeared on the WWE SmackDown press conference, introduced as TKO board director Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. He spoke about his WrestleMania announcement, his segment where he said he wanted Cody Rhodes' soul. On his segment with Cody Rhodes, The Rock said, with Cody, oh, I love that. I gotta tell you, for those of you guys that don't know, I grew up in the world of pro wrestling. My dad, my grandfather, and to be able to come back in this way as the final boss and to be able to get in the final boss skin, basically talking like he's Dwayne Johnson and he's just playing a character. And being able to become that in this venue here in New Orleans, like it's like if I was in a car and I'm becoming Luke Hobbs, when I'm in that Luke Hobbs skin in the car, it's great stuff. And really, he says, I think take the audience on a fun experience and ride where I'm singing, I'm dropping the announcement of WrestleMania. Here we come, 2026. I'm singing, oh, when the Saints come marching in, then I tell them, you can't sing with me. Then Cody Rhodes come out and offer him this big ideology of, you are our champion and you're amazing, but I want so much more for you. And then at the end, the final boss says, I want your soul. And I think that what that does in this wild, crazy world of pro wrestling is that, to me, it just becomes something that's unpredictable. In the world of pro wrestling, as we all know, everything will culminate to a match. Whatever happens, it will all end up in the ring. What I really love about this rare airspace that we've gotten to with the character of the final boss is like this white whale unicorn. With the final boss in Cody Rhodes, it's not about the WWE title. It's not about having a match. It's not about punching or kicking or bleeding or any of that. That is so a part of this world. It never has to culminate into a match. That's a really special place to be. I think like creatively and just think character-wise, how much fun you can have. I grew up in the business, as did Cody. His dad and my dad were friends. They're no longer with us, but to be able to have a storyline with two characters who are very popular, to never have to get in the ring or for a match, but still hold this really unique, compelling, and off-putting kind of weird. He wants his soul. What does that mean? I loved it. I loved every minute. And Cody did too as well. We had a few tequilas after tonight. The Rock revealed that the announcement of WrestleMania 42 coming to New Orleans was originally scheduled to take place during Super Bowl weekend. He said, we were, and I'll share this with you. Rock began, we were going to be part of Super Bowl and make the announcement at the Super Bowl that we were coming here to New Orleans. We had a couple of hiccups that we couldn't make that happen, but in any event, we're here now. And the improvements made to the dome played a great factor into what we're doing. WrestleMania 42 will take place on April 11th and 12th, 2026 in the Superdome. Sounded like Hulk Hogan. And then Fightful Select had a breakdown of this Rock and Cody segment. Fightful Select was told by sources close to the situation that creative was told just a few days ahead of SmackDown, with it being a shock to many in the company. The Rock was going to appear. The Rock appeared and announced a number of things, WrestleMania 42 in New Orleans, that he wanted Cody Rhodes' soul, and that he'd be at Elimination Chamber to see if Cody would give him said soul. As far as future plans, it's still working to learn how it affects things. Cody versus John Cena had been in the plan since late last year. Roman Reigns versus CM Punk, and later Reigns, Punk, and Rollins had been planned at various points as well. Back in October, WWE Creative was preparing stories as if The Rock would not be available for WrestleMania, and that continued all the way up until this week. At one point, a top talent had joked to Ibu of WrestlePuris and of Self-Made PW that WrestleMania was at the mercy of Dwayne, as he'd mentioned on the post-Raw podcast for Fightful. As of last evening, ahead of SmackDown, Cody Rhodes was already pulled from the main event of SmackDown, which was reflected internally. Those that Fightful spoke to internally say that this all came together very late, and even they hadn't been told what the direction was. Christian Savolo was listed as the writer for the segment, who does most of Cody Rhodes' segments. Michael P.S. Hayes was listed as the producer, and despite the listed writer, The Rock does not have to follow a strict script, in case you were wondering if any of the fucks were scripted. So, the big question is, what is the direction now? What direction is this all going to lead to? Do you think that we get corporate champion Cody Rhodes? Do you think that Cody Rhodes is going to say no at Elimination Chamber? And if he says no, will The Rock recruit someone else to be his corporate champion? And who would that person be? And who do you think would be the most probably interesting or intriguing person to be The Rock's corporate champion instead of Cody? We'll go to you, Krssi. What do you think?
I think he should do it, change it up a little bit. But if he doesn't, meaning Cody should, I think he should say yes. Be in the company's pocket. You want to stay champ? This is what you gotta do. Sell your soul to the devil. Like now, if he doesn't do it, which he probably won't, because he's gonna be boring. Boo. It won't be Punk. Maybe it would be Cena to ride it out and just leave. Something different for him. He's retiring anyway, so what else does he have to lose?
I said earlier, like, John Cena is the most interesting option to do because that's something that nobody called. Nobody called, especially for his retirement run. People are thinking, oh, Cena gets to ride out into the sunset.
Right.
They're gonna
He's
cheer
leaving
his name and
regardless.
stuff. He's leaving and stuff.
No.
Why? But why not tell one last great John Cena story by having him finally become that desperate to get number 17, to that desperate to win a damn matchup that he aligns with The Rock to win that set number 17.
Yep. He has nothing else to lose. He's going to retire, so you might as well say, you know what? Let me just ride off and be a bad guy. Let me be the corporate guy. I need number 17 to put on my legacy. Let me be a badass and let me sell my soul. Fuck all you guys. Because you let me lose in the Royal Rumble anyway.
There's a lot of people that's already like comparing it to possibly like a Austin Vince type of thing, and you know that has a big connotation around it because that's considered one of the biggest business fumbles that WWE ever did, because Austin was their top guy. Turning him heel did affect their business significantly. John Cena isn't that guy anymore, though.
No. He's really not.
He's so far removed from being that guy. And you have this whole company has become a baby face company. How many times have we counted the amount of over baby faces on the roster? Cody Rhodes, CM Punk, Randy Orton, Jey Uso, LA Knight, Seth Rollins. Like the list goes on and on. Sami Zayn. Roman Reigns. I didn't even mention Roman Reigns.
It's probably some more.
On and on and on and on and on and on. You can go for days, but the one thing that they don't have is a very protected heel to be the force for all these baby faces to fight against.
Yep.
The top heel in this company right now is Drew McIntyre, but that's through the great work. That's through the great, and Kevin Owens as well. Yeah, Kevin Owens is right up there with Drew, but that's through the great work of them. That is not how the company has presented them. The company has made them losers. Like Drew McIntyre lost his feud to CM Punk.
That's because
Kevin Owens never beat Cody Rhodes at all.
Yep, it's because they kept losing. That's what made them go crazy and berserk, because you kept making them be losers. And it was like, why do you guys praise these people? We're the ones that's putting in all the work. Why do you praise someone that's not even here? So they became good bad guys because you guys made them losers. And you wouldn't let them be the top guys. So it was like, okay, let's be bad guys then.
And then Drew lost to Tito last night, so it doesn't help.
He just called Jimmy Uso
He called Jimmy Tito. I'm done. Okay. Josh, you're on timeout.
I mean, on the bloodline OG, right? He's talking about the OG bloodline. He's definitely Tito. He's the last one. He's the last good member of the OG bloodline. And technically makes him Tito.
Right, because Sami is before him.
Well, and Sami still hasn't beat Drew. We need Sami to finally beat Drew now. So because everybody else, you have to be Samoan to beat Drew, apparently.
Oh shit!
You know what? Okay. You right. You another one. This is not gonna. This right now. Okay.
They have to be of Samoan descent to beat Drew.
You gotta take a blood oath. Say we gotta take a blood off somewhere.
You gotta cut your finger and rub it against someone else. Sami didn't do that. Sami didn't take the time to make the blood oath, so that's why he can't beat Drew.
He said respect. Please, they don't even respect Big Jim. The fuck is a Big Jim?
Big Jim.
The fuck is a Big
Jim? They was trying to throw that nigga down our throats, but no, like, no, you don't want to believe me. I've been saying it for the fucking longest.
I mean, they're trying to, but you know what it is with him? It's like, even though like he won last night, but it's like with him, he's kind of like in this realm where it's like they're stagnant, where there's no real storyline with him. Nope. Like, because the bloodline stuff is like, I don't know where that went. So he's kind of just there at the moment. And that's why it's one of those things where he's in a weird spot. Because at least with Jay, right? Jay has the main event. But even if Jay didn't win the Royal Rumble, Jay would still be in a prime spot because it's Jey Uso. Like, let's call it like it is.
He's so over. They're gonna do something with him. But I kind of asked the question earlier to you, huh?
You said who's so over
Jay?
Jay? Oh yeah.
Jay's over. Yeah. But I was gonna ask you, Josh, how do you think if John Cena or CM Punk is the option, how do you think that plays out, and how do you think Rock is gonna be involved in WrestleMania? Because me and Jimmy Macaram, not Jimmy Tito Uso, but Jimmy Macaram, me and him were discussing it after the Rock and Cody segment, and we were like, what if the Rock is gonna be at WrestleMania, but he's like the special guest referee for Cody versus Cena, or Cody versus Punk?
I don't think the Rock is going to be like a special guest referee, because as long as you don't hear like an announcement where, like, oh yeah, he's definitely going to be at WrestleMania, I kind of see him more kind of like in the shadows of being like an enforcer kind of like thing. I don't see like more like a special guest referee. I don't know how I would feel about that, because I think part of it is because the WWE did have a string of like overuse of special guest referees to the point that I'm like, I don't want to see it for a long time. Maybe that's why that's something within how I feel. I probably wouldn't want that, but I do see The Rock kind of being more like an enforcer, kind of me more trying to be like a puppet master kind of thing. I think that would be kind of better for him, in my opinion, especially if it becomes like the whole Cena thing, because Cena, right? When you guys were making the point, like he's at a desperate point of his career, because that's how they trying to present it. That's why he demanded. He's like, I've never forced my way in a match. This is why I'm doing it now, right? So in that aspect, him being desperate makes sense, and it kind of works because he could still kind of be like this good guy, but because he feels like he has to do it, that's why he's doing it. Yeah. He's not going to be like so like a heel. He's going to be a heel because of what he's doing, because of his actions. But it's one of those things where he's doing it because he feels like he has to do it, like he's being forced to do it, kind of thing. And that's a good thing if you have The Rock involved when it comes to that, kind of being like, again, like kind of being like a puppet master of sense, like in that aspect. I feel.
Yeah, I just think as far as like we got this question here from Fantic World. So is Seth and Punk not getting the WrestleMania main event spot this year? I think if you are playing this out, whatever Cody's doing is the main event of night 2. It's just figuring out what you're gonna do with Cody, because it seems like we're getting Cody and Cena. I just feel like that's what everything is lining up to be, because of how John Cena cut that first promo on the Netflix premiere, and then the promo after Royal Rumble where he declared for Elimination Chamber. The story to tell now is Cena going for number 17 at WrestleMania, because he set it up that way. Right. Like I've heard people be like, "Oh, John Cena, you can have a mainstream matchup with Logan Paul." That's not the story he's telling, though.
That's not what he wants. That's not what he wants. That's not what this there.
That's not the story that they're telling us. That's not the story that John Cena is telling us. So, like, that's just something that people who don't want to see Cena or don't think Cena and Cody can work. I think with The Rock involved in the build, now I'm more interested in a Cena versus Cody, because now you could play it off as Cena and Cody have both been kind of teasing heel turns in a way leading up to WrestleMania, and you have The Rock as the lightning rod who is going to direct who is going to go in that direction or not. So I think that is a very compelling and captivating build potentially for that main event matchup. I think that Punk, Seth, and Roman can be in the triple threat. And then it just depends on if they want that match to be the main event of night 1, or they want Jey Uso versus Gunther to be the main event of night 1. Because I can see it going either way. I could see Jey opening up night 1 or night 2, or I could see Jey closing out night 1.
Yeah.
So definitely,
I think he's gonna end up closing out night 1. There's a part of me that feels that way, just because I'm like, if you want to make that title feel important, it should be at least one main event. And I think if you have the crowd behind Jey Uso, obviously that's gonna like be the big talking point. If he wins it, people are gonna love it. People are gonna be hype over it. Basically, that's gonna be like the biggest, like, you know, thing for them for night one. People will talk about it and people will be happy. People will get what they want. And then basically you're in like a good, you know, there's good vibes, you know, good energy going into night two. The triple threat wouldn't be a bad move because I mean those are three top guys there. So it's wouldn't be a bad move. And I do believe, like, you know, like you said, Jay could be like the opening match too. Again, it's one of those things where it's like it's not a bad spot.
Yeah.
But I think at some point, if you want the world championship to be important, it has to be a main event kind of status at this point.
Agreed there. We got Bell who says, I wouldn't pre-ejaculate. What a term to use. The number 17 story, considering we have all year, but if they do, I won't complain. No, it's not pre-ejaculating. It's doing the numbers. It's paying off the number 17 story at where it would matter the most, where it would get the most eyes. Like dragging it out the rest of the year. I don't want to see that. I don't want to see that get dragged out the rest of the year and Cena keep falling short. Because if Cena falls short in the Elimination Chamber and falls short at WrestleMania, I don't care anymore. I don't care. We need to move on. We need to tell different stories for John Cena. That's why the number 17 story is a WrestleMania story.
Yep.
Yeah,
I agree with you.
Because towards the end of like how they either finish it, it should be Cena putting over someone like that's gonna need it really a lot more. And him going after a title
because he's not doing this anymore. Like you already said, you're leaving.
Yeah, I know, like, and if you're kind of pushing him for the whole thing to try to chase the title the whole year, you're kind of not doing him justice too of what he wanted to do within, you know, this retirement tour. I don't think that's it wouldn't be like a good move because you're just making it about that instead of like the whole entire like this is his last year. He's going to this town. Might be his last time being. It's going to be his last time being there. So I do agree that you should just do it now. Obviously, WrestleMania is the place that you do it. You know, but then also if he doesn't win, you know, he doesn't win. He's not going to go after the title again. You know, that's just how they're going to leave it at. And I think, and that'll be fine because at least then you have the rest of the time, the rest of the year. That's like what 8 months to basically celebrate John Cena. And I prefer that than to have this magical thing where he's trying to chase the title and then he keeps losing. I don't want that. That's like a fucking UFC fighter who's at the end of his career who keeps losing. I don't want to see that. Yeah.
I don't want to see that either. I rather them tell the story that they never told. John Cena, the heel. And it doesn't have to be, and that's another thing, another caveat to this. It doesn't have to be all year because I know there's some people that be like, oh, do you really want John Cena to get booed during his final year in the company? We got 11 more months. He could be a heel for 5 of those months, and then you can turn him back babyface, and he can get cheered on his way out.
And I feel like he's not even going to be there he's going to do like a kind of like a Roman thing anyway. He's not even going to be there every damn week.
And the corporate angle, like whatever they're going with that, like if Cena is the one that say The Rock gets involved with, it kind of makes sense too, because the story they could tell with that is Cena basically, I don't know if you guys remember or not, basically Cena is getting a job within WWE after he retires.
Yeah, he said that.
So he's already basically within like whatever they're doing.
Yep.
So he's technically going to be corporate. So it's like
you're already starting the transition.
Correct. They're taking all of these former wrestlers, Taker, Booker T, all of the older guys that has been there, the trend that has been their predecessors are now working with the company. They're doing something within the company, and he's going to be this corporate person. For a meantime, let him go across, let him go to NXT, let him come over this way, let him go to Raw, go to SmackDown. Let's do whatever you want. Let's fuck up this whole shit. Let that.
I also wouldn't be opposed to corporate man punk. I would not be opposed to that.
That's what I'm saying.
No longer CM Punk, corporate man Punk.
And it's like I've been saying it because I'm like,
wait. Could we also have that as Paul Heyman making that whole transition? It was the favor.
That's he pays off the favor. You get Heyman, Punk, and Rock all together. The new corporate dangerous alliance.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, I'm not mad at that one either, because remember, we still have a favor to be done. I mean, to be made, and we don't even know what the favor is. We still, and that was how many? That was from November, right?
Yeah.
How many months are we in now? Like that favor got to be like, favors just don't happen like overnight. People hold them in their pockets for when they need it and they're desperate. And Punk right now is almost desperate.
Yeah, I mean, and I've been saying it too. Like I said earlier, he kisses a lot of ass already, so it kind of just makes sense. Easy transition.
It's a great night to be in Las Vegas on a Saturday night. So all those options are there. You got other options in the Elimination Chamber. I'll start with you, Krssi. How do you book the Elimination Chamber? Who wins? Who's gonna face Cody at WrestleMania, and who's gonna be The Rock's corporate champion?
Okay, so we have what? We have Logan Paul, Cena, Seth,
Punk, Drew, and Damian Priest.
Oh, no Roman, right? Damn, right. I would pick either Seth. I would pick either Punk.
You got to pick one. Pick one.
Oh,
How
okay.
you book it? You're in the. You have the pen to write this booking. You have to pick one.
I would pick Cena. Runner-up Punk. But Cena because we've never had it and it's something different, and no one would really expect like the godhood hero. And I hope he changes all his fucking colors. I hope it'd be something real different too. I hope it's dumb and it's nothing like what he has right now. I hope it's something real stupid and it's like so good. Okay, sorry, I'm going off topic, but yeah, I hope it's Cena. He has nothing to fucking lose.
I've seen in the someone on social media before any of The Rock came back into the play, they had an interesting booking suggestion or booking idea for the Elimination Chamber.
Oh no, you about to make me
Roman returns in the chamber. He appears, shows up by surprise,
and eliminate someone else.
No, he takes out Seth, which helps Punk win the chamber, and that's the favor. That's the favor from Heyman. It's Roman costing Seth and helping Punk go to WrestleMania to face Cody in the main event. And then you could do the play of The Rock is trying to manipulate or try to convince Punk to be on side with him, and Punk becomes desperate and Punk becomes corporate man Punk and wins the title at WrestleMania, aligning with the guy that denied him the WrestleMania main event all those years ago is the guy that gets him to the WrestleMania main event. Or you could go in the direction that I think they do. I do think Roman returns at Chamber, but he causes both Seth and Punk to help Cena win.
Which makes the triple threat match for Mania.
Which makes us the triple threat match for WrestleMania. Then you have Rock playing basically the devil on the shoulder of both Cody and Cena in the build up to WrestleMania, when Cena finally turns at WrestleMania, and you end the show with the 2-man Hollywood power trip of Cena and The Rock with number 17. Cena's the greatest champion of all time. That I think that is where I would go with it, how I would book it. Josh, how would you book the Elimination Chamber?
Similar to that. Have Cena win, right? Have Cena win. Then he faces Cody. He's the one that faces Cody.
Yeah.
Now, if he's gonna win, I would say yeah, because you need the story to pay off. As far as anything after, then we will just have to see how long he'll be champion, whatever the case may be. But the way I would book it is Cena winning the chamber, him facing Cody at at WrestleMania, and he's the one that's basically in line with The Rock.
And then my booking has changed now. After WrestleMania, You have Cena be this heel with The Rock for like until SummerSlam. You have him go through like all the top baby faces. Cody can get another rematch. Seth can get a matchup. Maybe even Punk. And then it culminates at SummerSlam with babyface Jacob Fatu beating his ass, making a new star. The new star. Yes, it all comes back to my boy. Yada I mean, no, all gas, no brakes. Jacob Fatu becoming the champion. I need that. I need that in my life. I need that to inject in my veins. I need Jacob Fatu WWE champion in 2025. Yada I mean.
Yeah.
But speaking of WrestleMania plans, we got one more topic to discuss involving all of this. The Wrestling Observer newsletter came out yesterday, and they had an update on the planned card for WrestleMania on April 19th and 20th in Las Vegas, as well as what matches are rumored. Currently, according to Wrestling Observer newsletter, this is the confirmed lineup. WWE Championship, Cody Rhodes defending against John Cena. World Heavyweight Championship, Gunther defending against Jey Uso. WWE Women's Championship, Tiffany Stratton defending against Charlotte Flair. And CM Punk versus Roman Reigns versus Seth Rollins. Of the four, only Punk versus Reigns versus Rollins and Rhodes versus Cena haven't been announced as of yet. The other two have been announced as title matches. It was noted that there will likely be 13 to 14 matches across 2 nights of WrestleMania this year. While there are rumors of Jacob Fatu versus Solo Sikoa, the match is currently not booked for the show, and one of them has a different booking altogether, apparently. It was noted that this could also change. It was also noted that this week by WrestleVotes on the WrestleVotes Q&A, they talked about that WWE has discussed AJ Styles versus Finn Balor, but the Wrestling Observer newsletter notes that the rumored matchup between Styles and Balor is not booked, and nothing has been heard one way or another about AJ Styles versus Braun Breaker, which has been teased on television. So, with those 4 matches and with the rumored matches, do you think that these are kind of a good starting point for the WrestleMania card with Cody versus Cena, Gunther versus Jey, Tiffy versus Charlotte, and Punk, Roman, and Seth? Krssi.
I mean, it sounds all right.
I'll be honest with you. The Rock made me more interested than Cena and Cody than anything that I've heard in regards to rumors.
Yeah.
Like the Rock did his job. He got me excited for a matchup I was not excited to see.
Nope. And now, yeah, I mean, other than that, everything else just seemed like very like 2011-ish, maybe. I don't know. Like this card just seems like it's very like forgetful. If that makes sense. I'm sorry.
No,
Paul, you're not doing your job, friend. Sorry.
He hasn't been doing this job for a while.
Like, I'm used to, yeah, I mean, like these build-ups, like, and you can't be telling me that you're doing this a year in advance, because this sounds like it's just really like you had this homework assignment and you now trying to fill it in now in this last minute. Right or wrong. So like it's, you know, it's just, and again, I've been saying it for weeks, like you keep saying, Chris, you're gonna keep saying this every week. I feel really have great time outside of the WrestleMania in Vegas. Enjoy Vegas for that.
Yeah.
The Mania card itself, I mean, and it's very expensive, especially that time of year to go out there. It's expensive. And it's during the holidays. It's a lot that's happening, and that is a very, very expensive like place. And I hope you guys enjoy and see the other shows besides this show.
And all I know is that I better be getting me some Jacob Fatu versus Solo Sikoa, because that could be one of the hottest angles before WrestleMania is Jacob finally turning on Solo.
It could be. It has potential, but I'm like, is it too soon?
I mean, you could make an argument that it might be too soon, but I think Jacob fought too. Just strap the rocket to that man. Yeah, that I mean.
No, that part I do agree on. Like, he's great.
Do the
Stop.
shakes. Do the shakes. When he just busts that out, oh my god, I'd be dying. He just be busting that shit out.
But it's the character, like, you know, it's the character in itself. But like, I feel like yes, they should like rocket ship all the way. Absolutely, yes.
Yeah.
Him and Solo, I feel like I don't know if it has to be executed the right way. Yes, they have these little subliminal things that's happening here and there. That's fine, but it shows that it's in true WWE fashion that they're probably going to do it. But I think it might be a little bit too soon, just a little bit. But
what about you, Josh? What do you think about this kind of starting point with these 4 matches for WrestleMania?
I mean, it seems fine. It's just nothing to really write home about when it comes to WrestleMania itself. I mean, again, you know, when you had The Rock nuke everything, it kind of killed the buzz to that. So anything they put together was kind of like, is this like Mania worthy, you know, in a sense?
Mm-hmm.
You know, definitely Tiffy and Charlotte maybe could have, but you know, the way they've been using Charlotte since coming back, I don't know. I don't feel too confident with that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, you know, and it seemed like you said, Cena and Cody does seem more interesting. Even though for me, you know, as a big Cena fan, when I heard that John Cena was the option, I was intrigued because of that, because of my fandom, right? But my concern was more of like how the fuck it's gonna get there. And I feel like what Cena did at Rumble made it interesting. Last night, if they go the route that it seems like they're gonna go, definitely makes it more interesting. Like they definitely did that part that makes at least that more believable. And you know, if he wins, he wins. You know, John Cena wins, he wins. I wouldn't really be against it. I just know the fan perception probably wouldn't be too positive about it, but it is what it is. WWE is gonna WWE no matter what. So I mean, right now it's one of those things where it's like, okay, because you know, Jay and Gunther is gonna be more about the Jay win because we already seen that match already. We've seen it twice.
We've seen it twice. Yeah, we already know what's going to happen. Like it's already there for Gunther, and like he's even said he's not happy with it, and it's just
and you know, he's basically getting fed to Jay, and that's why it's kind of like one of those things where it's like I'm happy for Jay on a personal level because
it sucks for Gunther.
Yeah, you know, like it was a surprise.
Gunther
you know,
doesn't deserve that.
But then it's like it's on the expense of Gunther. You know what I mean? Like that's why it's kind of one of those things where it's like that was the main concern that I always had when it comes to that. But on an all grand scheme of things, this Mania card, you know, for the price that people are paying, I'm just like, would I fly out there? Nope, I wouldn't.
Nope. I would not do that to myself. I would not spend that much money for this card that it just doesn't seem like they have it all together quite yet. But we'll see.
Supposedly what happens. Supposedly their ideas are full already. So we'll see what other shit they come up with. But they're saying it's full. I 100% don't believe that is full because the shit that we've been seeing doesn't seem like they have anything on point. Because if you're telling me this week that SmackDown was thrown in like last minute, to me that's not a good thing because it's just like you've been telling us for a while that you have everything set in motion and you're all of a sudden throwing in a 3-hour show last minute. Don't seem like you got shit on order trips. GPS my ass.
And we should also mention that The Rock was announced, Deadline announced that The Rock is going to be in a Martin Scorsese movie with Leonardo DiCaprio and Emily Blunt. that's coming up. That's probably going to be filming. So a lot of people thought that was why he wasn't going to be at WrestleMania. But now that he's back, we got everything's kind of shaken up a bit. So Krssi, to end off everything concerning The Rock we talked about this week, do you think, or what percentage, 0 to 100, our usual game here, will you pick on The Rock potentially wrestling at WrestleMania?
Ugh, 0.
Josh, what about you?
I'm gonna say a light 5%.
You might as well say 0 like me, friend.
I'm gonna say 5 because I'm gonna say 5 because The Rock's ego was like at 150. It's like 150.
You know what? He's like Paul. He has to be involved in everything, but I don't see him
His
like
ego,
wrestling.
yeah, his ego is like
I just see him
150.
being there and just, yeah.
But because from what I understand too, The Rock hasn't really taken reps. He hasn't gotten ready in the ring. Like he hasn't prepared. He hasn't prepped for anything wrestling related. So that's why I'm gonna give him 5% just because of The Rock's ego. But realistically, I don't see him wrestling.
I'm gonna be the high person. I'm going 20%. 20%. Only because everything that WWE does should matter, or sometimes does matter. They showed a clip of John Cena in the Elimination Chamber last night on SmackDown, and they didn't choose the Elimination Chamber from 2006, his more famed Elimination Chamber win after, and Edge cashing in after that. They showed the one from Elimination Chamber 2010, where Cena won the WWE Championship, and then Vince McMahon brought out Batista to beat him for the title right after. So what if The Rock gets turned down by Cody, Cena wins the Elimination Chamber, and then The Rock comes out and beats him to go to WrestleMania to face Cody?
I don't see that.
I can see it.
I
can see egomaniac Dwayne be.
I mean, that would be funny, but then also it would be so bad for his reputation. So I don't know. That would be the worst thing he could do, to be honest with you. That would be the worst thing he could do. I mean, it'll be funny. Don't get me wrong. I'll laugh. I'll tell everybody, I told you guys so. I told you, Dwayne. I told you, Dwayne. Ego was, it's too big for himself.
It is.
But I don't see that happening just because that would take a massive, last year, what happened last year, that was bad enough. This will take another hit to that. And I don't think, not so much I don't think it'll be a good thing for him, but for somebody who acts like he does, he gives a shit. And he would definitely care if that was to happen. It would not be a good look. I think if you have a scenario 2 years in a row where The Rock kind of put him, does that shit, it's not gonna. I don't know. It's just
I want the chaos. Make it happen. I want chaos.
Hey, I'm all for chaos in WWE because fuck WWE sometimes. But it's one of those things where it's like, I don't know. It's crazy. That scenario does sound it sounds diabolical.
That's why I came up with it. All right, but final news note before we go into Monday Night Raw this week. There has been some frustration within the women's ranks in WWE. Fightful had a further details on this report. On Fightful Select's Discord, Sean Rossap answered a question about frustration within the WWE women's division and was asked about it on this week's The Hump. SRS was asked to expand on some of the frustrations from the WWE Women's Division. It's important to note that it doesn't reflect the entirety of the division, but ones echoed by numerous talent. Several women on the WWE roster spoke with Fightful and noted that the lack of focus on developing contenders, the tag team division, and screen time overall for the women outside of the top of the division has been a point of contention. This was said to be specifically in comparison to NXT, where main roster women's talent have noticed how much screen time and focus those talents get and how emotionally investment follows. There was also a point of redundant storylines with the same talent not only being featured at the top of the card, but even in the mid-card title scene. Those that Fightful spoke to were happy for those who get that screen time and said that it shouldn't be a quote-unquote they're getting too much time conversation. It should be a quote-unquote give other people more time in addition to them conversation. Those that Fightful spoke with pointed to Sonia DeVille effectively being cut while negotiating a new deal with the company as something that didn't instill confidence when they aren't being used by the company. Fightful was told that Sonia DeVille had been told as recently as 4 days prior that the company was looking to keep her. Several who have inquired about creative plans were told that their time would be coming and asked to be patient. So, what do you think, Miss Krssi Love?
How patient?
You represent the women here. What do you think about Triple H's recent booking and the frustration being expressed by the women's division?
Valid for the women because it's terrible. The only women that I feel like are getting decent booking is the one on NXT. And he ain't even really doing that. That's Sean. So you can't even give him credit for that. But it's telling because we really don't even know what's going to happen with Rhea for Mania. You have Tiffany being thrown with Charlotte. We see Charlotte already winning unless someone like throws an alley-oop and like changes all of that up. But I don't see Charlotte losing. So it's very frustrating. It's like the women are suffering, and they've been suffering for a while now. And I think since he's been in Charlotte, I think it's gotten worse, not good.
Yeah, now
he's had good parts, but it's up and down.
You're 100% right. The level of focus and creativity shown in the men's main event scene has not trickled down to the women's main event scene, or let alone, and this is the report notes that they feel like, the top of division does get time, but I don't think they get enough time to tell good stories. Like the one good story that the women's division had last year with Rhea and Liv was more centered around a male superstar than it was the title.
Correct.
And they also burned that out. They burned that story out too.
Yes.
So
to the ground, please do not don't resurrect it, please. We don't need that.
Yeah, but then also I think this booking too. What's kind of weird about his booking is like when we have Rhea Ripley, right? People talk about how top star Rhea Ripley is, but when she had her first title reign, which was over a year, what people forget too is like there was a lot of times where she didn't have a rivalry. She was on TV because she was with Judgment Day.
Yeah.
So
it was a lot of her reign in general was challengers of the month until Nia Jax returned.
Yeah, and it was just one of those things where it was just like, we're seeing Rhea on TV, but then it's like she had no feuds with other women. She had no challengers with other women. It was always her being involved with Judgment Day and her beating up men, right? And it's like, it's good for Rhea. Rhea's on TV and she's presented as a big superstar, but then it's like, where's everything else? And then, once you mentioned the whole thing with Nia, that's where we kind of started seeing things started getting a little bit better for Rhea, right? She had that, then she had she started having some good matches, right? Then she had Becky. But then that's when we were like, oh shit, like she's been a great champion, right? Because she's been presented well, and then she started having good matches, and then she got injured, right? And then when you give the belt to Liv was champion for how long? What, 6 months? Right?
6 months.
She held that from May. May. So that was an 8 month
longer. 8 months, and then it's like within the 8 months, what was good about it? It was like
the build up to the Rhea Ripley match at SummerSlam.
Yeah. And besides like the Rhea stuff, outside of that, it's like same thing. Match, like you said, like contender of the month kind of angles with her, and shouldn't your women's champions shouldn't be presented in that fashion. They should be, like.
And another note that Sean brought up on the hump is that Casey, he brought up her as an example, but not to say that she's one of the people that's been complaining, but Natalya. Remember, we all last year, a large portion of last year, we were talking about Natalya and her deal coming up. And WWE went out their way, gave her a big offer to come back. And what the fuck have they done with her since?
I forgot she was with the company.
She's been training everybody. That's what she's been doing. Getting everybody ready. That's what she do. She trained everybody. Help everyone get back to,
Which sucks because I think that's not. I mean, I don't think Natty necessarily doesn't want to help people. I think she does, but she also wants to perform. And if you're just not doing that for her, I mean, it's kind of depressing because we kind of seen her for a long time. We know she's a good worker, right? Like we all know she's a good worker, but because the way they presented her, she's kind of taken like a joke. And
kinda.
I mean, that's me being nice. That's me being nice.
Okay.
That's me being nice because honestly, there's a lot of times where I kind of really don't want to see her on TV. I'm not gonna lie. And that's because of the way WWE has presented her, and it sucks. But that's why I was just like, maybe she probably should just go to AEW. She'll probably be used as like a legend and like.
We said that we were very adamant that that's probably the best thing that you could do for yourself. And this is another thing with these wrestlers. Like when you realize that the company is that complacent in you, the best thing you can do is do a Drew McIntyre or a Cody Rhodes. It's leave and make them notice you outside of the company.
Yeah, and I think now, but you know what it is too. It's a lot. For talent, it might be their thought process might be a little bit different, just because of the wave that WWE has come across of we're the hottest brand. You want to be here, and I think it's one of those things where it's a lot tougher maybe for talent because they feel like, hey, I'm ready with the company where it's at its best right now, so I might as well stay compared to let me just leave. Let me build up my stock and then come back because they're probably just not going to do that. Again, that's just me being on the outside looking in. I don't know how they think. I don't know what's their thought process. But I do agree to a sense that some people just need to fucking leave. It's okay to just leave. Because even if you go to AEW, guess what? You're still going to get paid good. So it's not like it's a downgrade. You're going to make probably more with AEW.
Probably more.
Money.
Yeah.
So
Tony,
it's like
Tony will overpay you for your WWE reputation.
Yeah, and it's like it's not a bad thing, it's not that's why it's good. That's why it's a good time in wrestling right now to weigh your options, because even if people want to say they try to shut on AEW, but it's like if you're getting paid the same way or more, is it really a fucking downgrade? Is it really a downgrade in that sense? No, it's not. It's really not. And I thought she probably should have jumped ship, but she wanted to stay. She has her reasons. I know her husband is still there, so she has her reasons why she stood. But I mean, if she thought anything else was going to happen after being signed, then that's on her. If she really thought something else was going to happen, unfortunately, I'm sorry.
Yeah, she took the words out of my mouth. That is really on her.
Yeah, she's
the last minute go-to person that they call. I'm sorry. That's last minute Natty.
Oh my god.
That's the new nickname, Last Minute Natty.
Oh, that's a good one. Yo, I didn't even think of that.
That was really good, Krssi. Last Minute Natty. Put it in the chat. Hashtag Last Minute Natty. That's all. That's how they treated her for years. Even when she was New Year, they treated her that way.
Yep. And it sucks. I mean, hey,
it's unfortunate. And I don't want to say this, but is she only there because of the family that she's a part of?
Yeah, that's pretty much it. That's pretty much it's WWE wanting to keep that Hart family happy because they screwed them over years ago. But we gotta move on to other WWE this week. You had WWE.
Okay.
Yeah, we're still on WWE. We'll go through this fast. We spent enough time on The Rock and SmackDown that we'll go through Raw and
it's
NXT
The Rock. It's The Rock.
Okay.
Yeah, it's The Rock. It's The Rock. Raw on Netflix. You had the week 6 numbers. They did 2.6 million viewers, so they're down pretty much 50% from where they started on the Raw on Netflix premiere. But this week, they had a Sami Zayn kicking off the show, kicking off the program to address Kevin Owens' attack and the package power driver on him from weeks ago. Sami isn't cleared yet, but he accepted KO's challenge for Elimination Chamber. However, Adam Pearce says it can't happen until Zayn pleads for it, and it is made into an unsanctioned match in Toronto coming up at Elimination Chamber on March 1st. You also had Gunther cut a great promo talking about the fans' love for Jey Uso and the Yeet chants, until he also insulted a kid, told the fans that wrestling in front of them is like reading Shakespeare to a dog, a great Zack Sabre Jr. quote. And then he confronted Pat McAfee to ask if he thinks Jey can beat him at WrestleMania 41, which McAfee said yes. When Gunther looked like he was about to attack McAfee, Jey Uso ran out to brawl with the World Heavyweight Champion and actually stand tall here. So another really good segment between Gunther and Jey leading up to WrestleMania. Dakota Kai beat Ivy Nile to become the #1 contender for the Women's Intercontinental Championship. She'll face Lyra Valkyria on next week's show. Penta beat Pete Dunne in a solid bout. Post-match, Ludwig Kaiser jumped Penta until Dunne fought Kaiser, and then Penta took both men out with a dive to the outside. You also had Roxanne Perez making her official one-on-one singles debut on Monday Night Raw. Well, her first singles match back on Monday Night Raw since the Raw after WrestleMania last year. Roxanne picked up the win over Raquel Rodriguez to qualify for the Women's Elimination Chamber match, thanks to a distraction from Bianca Belair and Naomi going after Liv Morgan to set up a women's tag team title match for this Monday's show. Meanwhile, Seth freaking Rollins beat Finn Balor in an excellent main event to qualify for the men's Elimination Chamber matchup. And yes, Finn Balor was at it again. But Seth joins the star-studded field for the Elimination Chamber. Any thoughts on this week's Monday Night Raw, guys?
Finn Balor is a loser, but I still love him.
You still love his loser ass?
See,
okay.
As long as you accepted it at this point, I've accepted a long time ago.
I know. Yeah. It's he just goes out there to lose.
He's talking all that shit too about he gonna do this and that, and then it's like, how you trying to take that for Dom and you a loser too?
Yeah, you're a loser too. Like you can't even keep your own crew in check, bro. Like you're a loser.
No. He's not a good leader either. They're asking to recruit new members, and he's saying no for some reason. Like, what, are you dumb?
Your roster's full of losers. Everyone is losing. You lost one.
Yeah, so you need to bring somebody.
Right?
You lost one guy. It's just crazy.
Yo, that's what makes it funny. Yeah, because the last time I remember Judgment Day recruited a new member. They recruited Finn when Edge was there. They wrote Edge joined.
Right.
So
right. That is
for the new member, they're gonna write Finn off. I think that's why he said no.
Oh man.
Oh my God, I can't.
Finn Balor was at it again. Talking about the news coming out of Monday Night Raw or in WWE in general, we have a new free agent, a surprising free agent. Carmella is no longer with WWE as her contract with the company has reportedly expired. Fightful Select and PWN's Mass J report that Carmella's contract with the company expired recently, meaning she is technically no longer with the company. Carmella has been out of action since 2023 due to her pregnancy and dealing with a dropped foot after. So what do you think about Carmella being a free agent? I think that this is more or less like WWE just not re-signing her while she's still out. I think she will re-sign with the company though. What do y'all think?
Same. I think.
She's just being a mom. She let Corey do all the work.
You could go work, Corey. Go work as the third man in the booth on NXT. Last minute natty.
Gotta get that money back. But also, I think it's because I think it's she could not. I don't think she's cleared like at all or something. Because I know before she was having injury problems. Then she got pregnant. So I know she was kind of like in and out too. Not some kind of similar to like Alexa Bliss. Remember Alexa Bliss was like in and out. So I think it's just a case of she's not being used right now. We kind of don't really have to pay her for not being here, so we'll just let her contract expire, and then when she's ready, she could come back. Because sometimes you never know, right? As cruel as that sounds, it's one of those things where it's like they don't want to re-sign somebody who probably is not going to get used. You know what I mean? Like you don't know what's the status, so you're not.
And they probably been paying our paternity leave.
Yeah, so true. Like it's one of those things which again might sound cruel, but it's like they're probably just not going to pay somebody who hasn't been used. It's a situation where they feel like they could probably save up, even though they're making a lot of money anyway. But it's just one of those business decisions that when she's ready, she'll come back.
Agreed. We got over almost 200 people watching across all platforms. If you haven't already, drop the thumbs up on the video, share it with your friends, subscribe if you are new to the channel as well. Appreciate y'all for joining us, and feel free, if you want to show your support, send a super chat donation if you really want to have your comment read on screen. But we got more news from WWE in a video posted to her YouTube channel. Sonia DeVille commented on her release from WWE a couple of weeks ago. And when she found out that the company wasn't going to renew her contract, she said, "I got the call. My contract was not being renewed with the WWE. I got the phone call. We were in the middle of negotiations. So I thought the phone call was going to be middle ground that we met on. An agreement on a contract. It was, we are not renewing your contract." And I was shocked. At the end of the day, it's a business. I think business minded, for whatever reason is, I don't know the reason. And I could sit here and try to come up with one or guess. It was definitely that. I said or did that. I put 150% effort in the entire 10 years she was with WWE, but most importantly, the last 3. I went down to the Performance Center on my own time, moved there for 2 months and to train and to get the rust off. In other recently WWE releases news, Cedric Alexander has secured representation for his free agency following his exit from WWE. As noted, he was released from WWE earlier this month and will be a free agent once his 90-day non-compete clause expires. Fightful reports that Alexander has signed with Paragon Talent Group for representation. Paragon Talent Group is run by Steve K and Dean Moneti, aka Mojo Raleigh. I don't like saying his real name. I can't pronounce it. And they represent the likes of Darby Allin, Mercedes Moné, Alexa Bliss, and Ric Flair. So they getting up there. They getting like the second behind Barry Bloom as far as like the most like out there representation of wrestlers. So, but what do you think?
Mojo's in a good spot in his career where he doesn't have to wrestle. I think this is more of his kind of thing for wrestling, where he's like an agent. He's better at that than being in the ring. So, man, good for him. I like it.
Facts. I like it for him. He's doing well, and he's got some star-studded clients: Ric Flair, Darby Allin, Alexa Bliss, Mercedes Moné. Like,
but Mojo Raleigh he got fired and became an agent.
Yep. Good
for him. Make your money that way.
And he's a good person to have because he has that experience in football in the NFL.
Right. So he can definitely like bring that, and I love that for him. I love that. Good for him. He didn't really make it out as the wrestler, and that's okay. You can still be in the industry and make money and work with multiple people and get your coins that way. Good for him. And I love and good for Cedric.
Krssi, I heard you talking as I was reading the report. What do you think about Sonia DeVille and that whole story about them in the middle of contract negotiations saying we're not renewing you?
That's pretty shitty. You could have got rid of Zoe, but whatever.
Oh, damn, she went straight to that. I thought that was going like a different route in my head. She just went
Word. She had me in the first half. I thought this was.
Yo, she went for the dagger. Woof.
Because I'm looking at the picture that you showed. You had Zoe, Sonia, and you had Zoe, Shayna, and Sonia in that picture. And I'm like, at least Sonia can speak. You could have let. There's levels to this thing, and I think Sonia was actually really good at the whole like manager part of the whole situation, like general manager. I think that she could have actually done very well if you gave her the chance and put her out there.
I agree.
But you picked botched Zoe and kept her ass there, and that's just be fucking up shit anyway. So,
but I just like what?
Where is Negro Buck when we need it? We need Negro Buck to make a Krssi love disclaimer because wow,
that was great.
That was great.
Listen,
I'm
just being very, very honest and just keep. Damn, the super chat is just coming in now.
They heard you. They heard you.
You're good for us. Hey, keep doing it.
It's not. I don't hate. Okay.
I'm being
honest, and people are not being honest with themselves.
She's being honest. I like
it. And I'm telling you, everyone feels the same fucking way. I'm just being.
There's a lot of people who feel the same way.
I'm the bad guy though.
No, I don't think you're a bad guy for this because this was gold.
Okay.
It's perfect. This is a clip.
But I will say,
I think I made it. I made it.
Yeah, I will.
I made it. Tell Jimmy I've made it like him. I got a disclaimer. I've made it in life. You know what I'm saying? There's certain things that you aspire, and I've made it.
I will say that the shitty part about it.
But I think it's really shitty though. No, I really think that's really fucked up. We're in negotiations. You was like, nah, fuck that bitch. We're not even gonna sign her back.
I think that's the unfortunate part for me.
Yeah, that's the sad
more
part.
More that just because it's like you're giving the person false hope by doing that.
Right. These people job, you know what I'm saying? Like
at least with Tony Khan, right? I don't like the way he's handled like when contracts expire, where they're like, "Oh, we're just not going to renew your contract. We know we're not going to use you." But at least he makes it clear, like we're not going to renew your contract.
Right.
So just be prepared, right? At least there's there's no negotiation period where it's like, all right, let's talk, let's see where we're at, and then all of a sudden they decide, oh, we're not going to resign you, because at that point it's just like, why are you wasting my time? Like,
you wasted homegirl's time. I'm sorry, y'all did that shit on purpose, son. Like,
they did that. They did that with Hydra.
They kind of already knew that they wasn't even gonna do that shit. Like, I feel like that low key, they just like, okay, yeah, we're gonna do some negotiations, and I feel like low key they was like, fuck that bitch. Like, we're not gonna let's make her think or like her assume this, and then
Sonia, she's not asking for a lot. I don't think she's doing anything that's gonna be like, hey, you're like, whoa, hold on, like you're asking for way too much. I seriously don't think she
needs more money than Zoe.
I mean, she should. She should.
I'm gonna stop. I promise. I'm gonna stop. I'm fine.
Yo, poor Zoe watching this show.
You know what Cat reminded me of?
She's like 50 Cent. Like, fuck me. Why is it fuck me?
It kind of reminded me of like one of those movie scenes where somebody's like walking through a crowd of people and you just see somebody they don't like, and then you see somebody just swing on them. Boom. That's what I reminded me of.
Oh man, that was great. It was recently reported that Demolition had been signed to a WWE Legends deal, and it looks like they could be bound for the WWE Hall of Fame induction next. Fightful Select reports that the former 3-time WWF Tag Team Champions have been discussed for a Hall of Fame induction. Their new Legends deal not only enables them to get new officially licensed WWE merchandise and video game appearances, but it also offers the team a path to receive a Hall of Fame induction. According to the report, the current regime heading WWE has brought up Demolition as potential inductees. It's unknown if they've been nailed down for the class of 2025. Of course, Triple H and Michelle McCool have been the only inductees announced for this year's class. Under the team's new Legends deal, WWE will be able to license and create new merchandise for Axe and Smash and Demolition. And there have been WWE licensed action figures for Demolition before, and they did appear in the WWE a WWE 12 video game. However, their recently signed Legends deal ends multiple years of issues between Demolition and WWE, stemming from their exit from the company, lawsuits over the Demolition copyright, and concussions, and more. It's unknown if Crush, aka the late Bryan Adams, is being considered as part of the group for the Hall of Fame induction. Crush became a third member of the group for about a year, but he had a 6+ year run in WWE, having a run as a single star, joining the Nation of Domination, and later jumping to WCW and becoming a member of the NWO. He later formed the WCW tag team Chronic with tag team partner Brian Clark, eventually winning the WCW tag team titles. WWE has not yet announced Demolition for this year's Hall of Fame, but are we going to go 0 to 100? What do you think? Demolition in this year's Hall of Fame, Krssi Love.
I would give it maybe 65%. I would love.
That's pretty low. That's pretty low I think that's pretty low. I'm gonna put it at I'm putting it at 95%.
Okay. I mean, I'm anchoring my 65 as in yes, but you know,
okay.
We never know what Paul's gonna do. Can't even say Triple H is Paul, because Paul acting like he don't know who the fucking Ross is, but you know, whatever.
Girl, what about you, Josh?
I think it's about, I'm going like 80%, just because I think the signing the Legends deal gets them one foot at the door. Now it's a matter of what Triple H decides to do himself.
What they're gonna do?
Yeah, he handpicks it.
Yep, there you go.
I think it'll be a good class for them to be in. To be honest,
it should be. Yeah,
you already got
the tag team.
Yeah, you know, you got a tag team. You know, longest reigning tag team before New Day. So I mean, it's a good class for them to be in. I think it should be this year.
Be with Michelle McCool. Great job. And Paul.
I thought Michelle McCool was gonna get the week off after you just demolished Zoe. I thought you would give Michelle the week off since you demolished her last week, Krssi.
Nope. Same shit.
Nope. Anyone you guys want to mention as far as who you think could make a good inductee that hasn't been mentioned or reported on quite yet? Josh?
It's like somebody for the Hall of Fame this year?
Yeah.
A good name, because he hasn't been inducted in. I thought, even though I don't think it's gonna happen for obvious reasons, Batista. I thought Batista would have been a good.
Yes, no, not with Paul, not shining Paul taking all the spotlight. No, nope.
No, but the reason why Batista love, like he's you know, he loves Triple H, like he loves. Paul,
I know, but Batista should be in a class by itself. Don't let Paul take over.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with what Krssi said. Batista should be headlining his own.
Batista should be, and I agree with that. He should be headlining. But
Maybe
because
next
I know because I know like the relationship between
him
Triple
and Paul,
H, it's very good. It's very strong. Like I wouldn't mind it too much on that aspect, but I do agree with you guys. Like he should be in a class on his own. But I think he's
still filming. I think he's still doing some.
He's doing a bunch of stuff. Yeah,
he's always doing films. Yeah,
he's in like films. He's in like series now. Like he's like another person that's like taking the whole acting thing and like rocket ship. Like it's just now like, and I think the more roles he does, the better he gets.
He's a dog dad too. He has like 10 dogs now.
Yeah. We got a couple of super chats we got to get to here. We got first up Dion Jenkins. Thank you so much, good brother. Always love seeing you in the chat. He says, "What up, THH? Good to see you, Dion." And then Dion showing us a bunch of love with 3 straight super chat donations here. Right. He has a 3-part one here. First up, thank you for this one. He says, 1 out of 3. In recent years, we've seen the WWE PLEs riddled with ads and filler segments and less in-ring action. Then he gives us a second super chat donation. Thank you so much. That is a good point. He says, do you believe that WWE doesn't put as much effort into the shows because they don't make as much money as they used to from pay-per-view? That's an excellent point, and that is probably a factor. It is probably a factor.
Because of the whole Peacock thing. Remember, people, they're paying monthly for it. So a lot of people are not paying for it via like regular pay-per-views like AEW would. Right. Correct. The subscriptions and the people that have it, and depending on what subscription you have, is what's paying for the PLEs.
Yeah.
So that's actually
and then he finishes it off and says, and would you rather pay $50 a month for pay-per-view to get better quality shows? I don't think you should need to pay $50 a month for those better quality shows, but I would not mind if I would not mind paying $50 for a better show than what Triple H produces for these PLEs.
Correct.
I agree.
Like Triple H, this 5-match merchant shit is just annoying at this point. Your roster is way too good, and that's part of the reason why the women have been neglected is because you're a 5-match merchant, and you don't put a lot of women on these shows. You don't put a lot of tag teams on these shows. You've basically ostracized 2 of your main divisions because you're a 5-match merchant.
Pretty much. I mean, you there you go. You've said it. I mean,
yeah. But we got one last thing to touch on. One last thing to touch on when it comes to WWE, and that is their latest PLE, which was WWE NXT Vengeance Day, and that. I do note it is WWE NXT Vengeance Day because now WWE is classifying all of their NXT PLEs as WWE shows for the ticket sales and stuff like that. So, Vengeance Day, the show features Stephanie Becker defeating Fallon Henley in a very good opener to win the NXT Women's North American Championship. You also had Fraxium beat Josh Briggs and Yoshihiki Inamoru in an awesome tag team encounter to retain the NXT Tag Team Championship. Post-match, you had the new mystery faction attack all 4 men in the ring. Ethan Page defeated Javon Evans in what I thought was another very good matchup on the show. That final spot where Ethan catches him in midair with the punch to the jaw was awesome. I loved it all so much. That was a very good matchup. Then you also had, like we mentioned earlier, a black man lost in a strap match in Black History Month, as Eddie Thorpe beat Trick Williams in a hard-hitting strap match, getting the biggest win of his NXT run so far.
Which is crazy.
Oba Femi beat Austin Theory and Grayson Waller in a better-than-expected triple threat match to retain the NXT championship. However, post-match, the new mystery faction got Oba as well, as they came out and attacked the NXT champion to stand tall in the middle of the ring. And then finally, Julia defeated Roxanne Perez, Bayley, and Cora Jade in a great triple threat matchup to retain the NXT Women's Championship. Post-match, Stephanie Becker came out to celebrate with Julia until none other than Jordynne Grace came out to officially debut on NXT and to stare down with both women. Then that took us over to NXT, which was probably one of the more newsworthy episodes of NXT in a while. They did 689,000 viewers, so down from last week, but a very good show featuring Oba Femi kicking off the broadcast to call out the new mystery faction for their attack, only to get TNA X Division champion Moose. Who confronted Femi and challenged him to a matchup. A match seemingly was set with Oba accepting. Later in the program, Lexis King challenged Moose for the X Division Championship. That match will go down on next week's show. Meanwhile, you had Carmen Petrovic. She picked up a huge win, getting the win over Jada Parker and Kalani Jordan to become the #1 contender for the NXT Women's North American Championship. Sol Ruka and Zarya picked up a win over the Metaphor Girls. Meanwhile, you had Ricky Starks. Ricky Starks officially got his new name as he had his official NXT contract signing that was interrupted by Ethan Page, who was attacked by Javon Evans, continuing that rivalry. Then Ricky got interrupted by Wes Lee, who he punched in the mouth before signing the contract to reveal his new name was officially Ricky Saints, because the Saints go marching in. Oh, can the Saints go marching in? Oh, marching in. Meanwhile,
okay, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Sean Spears picked up a win over Stax. Meanwhile, Eddie Thorpe picked up a win over Andre Chase. And in the main event, you had Fatal Influence. They took a loss to the NXT new Big Three. Sorry, Zarya. As Jordynne Grace, Julia, and Stephanie Vicaire defeated Fallon Henley, JC Jane, and Jasmine Nix in what I thought was an awesome trios matchup. It was a lot of fun with all three ladies working together here. So, good show on NXT this week. Any thoughts on Vengeance Day or this week's NXT and the Ricky Starks name reveal? Krssi. Or Josh.
Yeah, go ahead, Josh. Go ahead.
No, I was gonna say, as far as the name change for Ricky Starks being Ricky Saints, I thought it was more funny than anything. I didn't hate it.
They won't even say his fucking name, like.
Yeah, I didn't hate it, but I could understand like both sides of the argument. I could understand why people don't like it. I could understand why people like it because it's like, hey, it's a new start. It's he's in WWE. It's a fresh start, and if he picked the name, fine. But I could also see the other side of the coin where people were upset because Ricky Starks, right? People for a whole year, hey, we want Ricky Starks, right? He needs to leave AEW. And then he leaves, and then now he has basically identity change. So I can see where people don't like him, right? Because it was just a random thing. I get it. He's from Louisiana, but I'm like, I mean, hey, I'm from New York, but I'm not changing my name to Yankees. I'm just saying.
Or the Mets.
Josh Giants. Josh Giants. That's a name. Josh Giants.
Yeah, so it's like he's gonna try to. I mean, again, he's gonna try to justify it. He's gonna try to justify it, and that's fine because he has to justify it. But
right,
it was a weird move. It was definitely a weird move, just because WWE has made a thing of names, right? You either get your name changed or not, and a lot of talent that we've been seeing coming in have kept their names. Sean Spears kept his name. Ethan Page kept his name. Jade Cargill kept her name. Who else? There's a bunch of people, Cody Rhodes kept his name. So it's like a bunch of people did, and then you had the like Lexus King. Obviously he changed his name because they didn't want Brian Pillman Jr. for whatever reason. I thought that was a better name. But there's just shit that people changed, but that's why there's a big discourse when it comes to that. I mean, and then within the show, NXT, I mean, kind of crazy, I'm happy seeing Jordynne, but I'm like, damn, she replaced Zarya already? Like, what the fuck? Like,
I was and Zarya, what happened? What happened, home girl? Did they leave? Did they take you?
They stuck her with Solaruka. That's why. That's what they stuck her with the damn surfer girl. Now she babysitting her.
They jacked her chain, basically. Like, basically, that's what they did. They said you're not Chris Bosh. You're actually Mario Chalmers.
Oh shit! Damn. And that's what. Damn. You're not wrong about that. It kind of sucked, but you're not wrong about that.
I'm just saying. I call a spade, sir. I call it a spade.
And like I would say the women in NXT have been presented a lot better, right?
Yes.
They've been presented, even though honestly, I thought this was kind of the direction they were going to go. Either way, just because like they were gonna put focus on the big signings, and they've been doing that. At the same time, I'm like, what's gonna end up happening once they start getting called up one by one? They're gonna have to figure some things out because I don't think they don't have a women because Roxanne. I mean, like she's going up, she's leaving, and they already wrote that on the wall already. She's having matches on the main roster. So when that happens, is one of those things where it's like it's good at the moment. They're being presented well, right? They're presented as a group, whatever the case may be. But then it's like once things start coming apart, how they're gonna go forward with that? That's more of my concern. But then seeing Moose, it was cool seeing Moose. You're gonna lose to Oba, so oh well. But it is what it is. TNA,
but that's a good that's a good cross. That's a good
that's a good thing
matchup to do.
No, it's a good matchup. It's just TNA gonna get the short end of the stick regardless. But
I'm about to say this. Oh my God, yo, Josh, I was about to say the same thing. Too bad Moose got to lose though. Even though I don't think he should. I think Oba should lose. But whatever.
What? Come on, nah, you're wilding. Right, Oba is the star. Oba is the star.
I didn't say all that. But I do.
Okay, whatever.
But there's people who do like Moose. So I mean, it is. But then there's people.
Yeah, I like Moose, but I also do understand that he has some stuff outside of wrestling that people don't want to forgive him for. So
I know exactly what you're talking about. We'll talk Krssi after we go.
Oh, okay.
DV. That's all I'll say. DV. Rhymes with
I got it.
Domestic violence. Just saying. But yeah, I do like the matchup. I think it was a good booking choice because I don't know how I feel about the PC Shield Tribution from Vengeance Day. What do y'all think about the new mystery faction that they introduced at the pay-per-view?
It was kind of I don't know, it was a wet fart to me. And it didn't help. It didn't help the fact that people chanted, "Who are you?" It did not help at all.
Yeah.
Not even the "Who are you" chants. It's just copy and paste. The Vengeance Day bullshit, the mask, like, guys, come on. Like, you can't think of anything else? Like, oh, let's get.
I mean, I wasn't interested beforehand. I was not interested beforehand, and this did not help. It did not help that at all. It did.
And it's like, are we really going to believe that another faction came to fuck shit up? No, exactly. See, there you go. Exactly. No,
not really. No, not necessarily. It's a fair try by Shawn Michaels and the NXT crew, because I will say the men's division in NXT needed something. They did need something. That is very true.
Need something. I do agree with you on that. They do need something. It's just I don't know if this is a good needed something. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, when you need something, you need it. But then it's like when you give it, it's like, oh, it's just the move you wanted to do.
Yeah,
it's kind of like when
I don't know if that was the move. Yeah,
you know what I mean? It's kind of like when people say, "Hey, we want something different," right? And then when they made Jinder Mahal champion, it's like, "Hey, you got it different," but that's not what I wanted.
Not that one. Not that one. Let's try something else. not that part. Not that part. Let's revert course. Let's do something else. But after the whole big name reveal, in an interview with Busted Open Radio, Ricky Saint spoke about his departure from All Elite Wrestling and noted that he wasn't sure exactly what led to his eventual release from that company. He did note, however, that he believes certain veterans got involved with his creative. On what happened, he said, and I quote, "There are situations that arise. There could be a bunch of things that kind of culminated. I don't know the specifics of what it is. Some people you ask the internet, it's because you were at the Rumble. First off, screw you. The footage leaked from me being at the Rumble. I wasn't backstage. I was simply visiting someone who was an hour away. Not only that, I left after the first match. Some could say you were at Mania in a suite and you got on camera cheering. Screw you. You're an idiot with no friends and no passion in life. If you think the damnest thing that I've done is cheering somebody at another company, bad optics, you're blind. You don't know what you're talking about, says Ricky. He says he also noted that my boss was okay with it. I can't tell you exactly what the moment was. You could say it was Punk week when things fell apart. Absolutely, I probably agree with that. You could say Ricky didn't play the politics well enough. Okay, for sure. On if there are a lot of politics in AEW, he says, I'm not saying there are, just as much as any other company, probably. You could say that I maybe didn't protect myself in that way. There are so many things you could say. What I can say for myself is that when I got hurt in March, that was it. I never came back. Even then, I wasn't hurt. It was a precaution thing because I got scared and had a stinger. Then I was fine. After that, no dice, no communication, nothing. That is okay, because if someone is mad at me, the reason I say it was okay is because I ended up here. Everything worked out. On if it was personal or professional, he said it was probably personal. If it was professional, it wouldn't have happened this way. That's how I believe it. That's not to disparage anyone there. Just so we're clear, I already know how this is going to be taken. This is nothing disparaging for me to say. What I am saying is the truth, that I don't know exactly what it was. If you point the two times I was caught on footage at WWE, I can tell you that you're wrong. Some people will say we could tell he was phoning it in. Bullshit. There was never a match of mine in my entire career that I gave less than 1,000%. You can jump off a cliff with that opinion because it's not even real. On if it was a veteran or younger wrestler who interfered in his booking, he said veterans. That's it. I'm going to leave it at that. If they have a problem with me, they have my number. Text me about it. With that said, I'm glad to be here. No, it wasn't a Punk Perry situation. I think what it was, if it didn't work for their creative, then somebody had to get the boot. That's how I see it. On his name change to Ricky Saint, he says it's just a throwback. It's not really a throwback because the New Orleans Saints are still around, but Saints in itself is pretty indicative of New Orleans. Regardless, if you think of the football team or the French influence and things of that nature, it's also as close as you're going to get to Starks. I like the name. It's going to take some time to get used to, and I respect that they care so deeply about me that they rebel against the name change. At the same time, I'm a product of New Orleans, and I want to pay respects to that. The Wrestling Observer newsletter notes that when it comes to the booking in AEW, Tony Khan has the final say. There will be input from others, but he has the last word. As for what others, that includes talent, Bryan Danielson, Dax Harwood, QT Marshall, and others, such as top guys like Jon Moxley, Chris Jericho. When it comes to Ricky Saints, Khan believed that he was going to leave regardless due to his connection to Cody Rhodes. It was noted that when it comes to Khan, if he believes someone is leaving the company and they won't negotiate new deals, he won't use them anymore. There were creative plans for Starks when he had a stinger, which didn't happen. When multiple sources have said he turned it down, he denied doing so. So what do you think about what Ricky Saints had to say?
I mean, I get where he's coming from, and I heard it. I saw the clip. I saw him explain the reasoning of what it was. I mean, yes, that's from if you're paying homage to the place of your birth. Great, good for you. Sure. I think people think that Stark sounds better, but who am I? It's you. I mean, we knew he was, and just like you said, we knew he was going to leave regardless because of who his friend is, and every big event that his friend has had, he has been there, and he's always voiced that he always will be with his friend. So I mean, let's see what happens with Saint. Maybe if he goes to the main roster, he was like, "No, what, fuck Saint. I want to have Starks back." Maybe the other Starks will leave, and then he could use that name too. So.
Well, I don't think he's going to have that type of say in doing so, but We'll see. We shall see.
Whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, see what you're
quick,
saying is that they made him change the name. Oh, I think it was all him though, correct?
no, it wasn't all him.
Got it.
He
All the
owns
other
the
people
Starks
got-
name. He owns the Starks name, so I don't know why he would make the change, the choice to make the change.
And that's what I thought it kind of was is like, okay, everyone else that came over kept their name. Penta owns his name, right?
No.
Yeah.
Well, the Penta.
No, well, he owns Penta. He owns Penta. Yes, he does.
He doesn't own Pentagon. They can't use Pentagon.
Right. I know they can use Pentagon, but I know he owns Penta.
Yeah, sure.
Yes.
Yeah.
So look, it's Jordynne Grace
Yep.
owns her name. Julia. What's the other girl name?
Stephanie Vicaire.
Yeah, they all got to keep Jade Cargill. They all I don't understand what's like. Make it make sense to me. And that's the only thing that I'm like, so we want to change. I just don't get I don't get it, but whatever. You're gonna make money regardless off of them.
Yeah, as far as his AEW stuff, AEW comments, like I said before, there are things that I know about because again, somebody snitched him out. Somebody from the AEW roster snitched him out. So that's why I'm like, I know there's things that are accurate. There's some things that, he might feel some type of way, but I'm like, I know certain things he wasn't being fully honest with. However, I know he's not going to go on camera and say that because it'll make him look bad. It's one of those things where you're not going to openly set yourself up. So I know there's things that he was telling the truth on certain things. He was telling the truth about the whole Royal Rumble stuff, Mania stuff. He was telling the truth about that. TK gave him the okay with that. It was more of the locker room perception. Some people didn't like that. That's what.
And Jericho came up to him and told him that. And as far as who was getting involved in his creative,
it was stupid Jericho that said that.
No, it's not just no, it's actually Adam Copeland.
Yeah. There's a lot of people because of
it's the infamous Collision promo where he called him a vanilla midget version of The Rock, and they were gonna do something following up from that, but Copeland kind of nixed that, from what I heard.
Yeah, I heard that as well.
Interesting.
Because of basically Ricky got him flustered in the promo.
Yeah,
basically made him look bad, and
he ain't like that.
He didn't like that.
He made him look bad, but at the same time,
he made himself look bad.
I think Copeland set himself up for that. In my opinion, Ricky didn't really do anything wrong with that. It was just a promo battle.
Ricky was doing his job.
Lost the promo battle. Copeland lost the promo battle, and
and that happens, but that's a part of the game, is it not?
Yeah. So
you got to take that L. You got to take that L on the chin, Cope.
As far as him being told they didn't communicate with him after that, that's definitely false, because I know they were trying to get him back on TV, and there was a few times where he did turn off creative. Not as bad as Miro, but there were times he did turn down creative as much as he wants to spin it. And I stand by that because I saw the footage myself, and I was like, "Oh, okay." I kind of knew where shit was going, so that's where I stand on when it comes to Ricky Starks. Again, at the end of the day, this doesn't make him a bad person. I don't think Ricky is a bad person. I think he's still super talented. I think he's a nice guy, and if he wants to be in WWE and he can make money, I'm all for it. So shit happens.
That's a fact. Yes.
Right. In a job, you love your job at first, and then sometimes things happen. People change. Culture changes. I think he just needed a fresh start. He needed a new change, and he's getting it now.
Yeah.
But Rapid Fire finish off with WWE this week. As far as the new faction, the Wrestling Observer newsletter reports that the goal for the group is to recreate the Shield, which is why the group did a 4-man shield bomb to Oba Femi at Vengeance Day. The group consists of Cutler James, Saquon Sugars, Dion Lennox, and Osiris Griffin. What a bunch of names. The Wrestling Observer newsletter also reports that WWE is interested in former NJPW wrestler and former IWGP Junior Heavyweight Tag Team Champion Kevin Knight. Knight has been a free agent since January when his New Japan deal expired. According to the Wrestling Observer newsletter, there's lots of talks in WWE about bringing him in. He has been talking to U.S. companies since his deal with New Japan expired. And a new report had some report on Man Like Darius and Rio. Darius is someone that that WWE has been paying attention to as a potential signing. The report notes that several talents within WWE have pushed for both Rio and Darius to be signed, so we shall keep our eyes on that. And finally, let's go over to AEW. AEW Grand Slam Australia was last Saturday night. They did 502,000 viewers going after the NBA All-Star Game. So up from recent weeks for Collision, but the show was absolutely tremendous in my opinion. It featured Will Ospreay and Kenny Omega defeating the Don Callis families, Konosuke Takeshita and Kyle Fletcher, in an absolutely phenomenal tag team encounter with one of the best tag team finishers I've seen in quite some time, that Hidden Blade One Wing Angel. Later in the show, Omega challenged Takeshita to an AEW International Championship matchup, while Will Ospreay challenged Kyle Fletcher to a steel cage match for both of those matches to go down at Revolution on March 9th. Mercedes Moné beat Harley Cameron in a very good bout to retain the TBS championship. Poor Minnie Monet got beat down. Flying Muppets all over the place. John Moxley and Claudio Castagnoli of the Death Riders defeated Adam Copeland and Switchblade Jay White in a decent, fun Brisbane brawl. I did not like the finish to the matchup, but that's besides the point. Then you had Kazuchika Okada beat Buddy Matthews in a great bout to retain the AEW Continental Championship. And finally, Timeless Toni Storm defeated Mariah May in a brilliant main event to become a record-breaking 4-time AEW Women's World Champion in her home country of Australia. Timeless Toni Storm is back on top. What did you think about Grand Slam, Miss Krssi Love?
So I actually was watching the All-Star thing, and I wasn't going to stay up, but it kind of hooked me, and I watched it, and I'm glad I did because it was great. It hooked me. We were watching it, and I was like, "Oh shit, I forgot this was coming on." Okay, I'll watch it. And then after the first match, I was like, "Damn it, I can't go to sleep now."
They hit you with that, and then they hit you with Mercedes and Harley. It was like, oh, damn, that sucks.
Yeah. Yes, exactly. Go ahead. So yes, I thought it was a great show. I enjoyed it. Everyone that won that should have from start to finish, it was a great show. Too bad it was like in the freaking middle of the night, but hey.
Not the middle of the night. It started like All-Star Saturday ended really. I ended earlier than I thought it would. It ended at like 10:40 or something like that. It didn't end at 11.
So, yeah. Usually end at 11. But yeah, we won't even get into the All-Star stuff because that's another thing. But yeah, our ancestors are really in its Black History. Our ancestors are just like really like rolling over in there. Yeah. But what a show. Toni Storm. Oh my God. Wow.
Great match.
The story, I think the storytelling of it all was what sold everything too. And then the tag match that opened the show, I didn't know I needed that, but it was so good. Like even like Moxley and them were good too. So it was like everything happened was good. It was great. So
the show was so good that the grifters had to talk about the ring size.
Right.
They had to make a whole big deal about the size of a ring.
And I'm like, why is that? Why are we even talking about that? Because of the arena? Like, what? I mean, I was like, it was a great, and the crowd was great too. I was like, why? They needed something to critique. That's just what it was. They just needed something just to say, to make negative things. That's all. They couldn't give it. They couldn't give the props where it was due. Like, you give
the way they try to angle it, they really try to convince everybody that the ring was like 10 by 10 or some shit. Like,
it's the same ring. It's the same ring. The same man has been doing the same ring.
Like, yo, like, I mean, that's the best thing you got, guys. It seems like those checks ain't coming in fast enough for you guys on X.
Correct.
Grifting ain't easy, apparently. It's not that easy. But yeah, any extra thoughts about Grand Slam that you didn't give us on the review, Josh?
No, I mean, I pretty much said everything that I said last weekend. Like you said, the only end result that I probably questioned was the Death Riders thing, where he choked out Copeland. That was the only thing that I was like, all right, you had him challenge for the championship and you had him lose. Okay.
Make him look weak, yeah. Yep. Mm-hmm.
You know, if it means Mox loses at Revolution, sure, right? But I don't see that happening either. But besides that show was great. Show was great all around. Crowd, they had a big crowd. Crowd was hot. Matches were great. Not a bad match in my opinion on the card. The right main event was the main event. Right person won as well. And I wanted to add to that. So they did a special pre-order for her figure, the Toni Storm, Timeless Toni figure with her ring attire from the Australia show, the Grand Slam Australia.
Oh, nice.
5,000 figures, and it went and it sold out within less than an hour.
Very nice. Very nice. Love that. Love that. Good stuff for Toni there. But we got to talk about the big news of the week, guys, for AEW, which is the culmination. They finally finished the story, guys. We finally finished the story. Because last year, former WWE executive and on-screen talent Shane McMahon met with AEW president and CEO Tony Khan to discuss quote-unquote possibilities moving forward. However, it appears nothing ever came out of it. Fightful Select had more details about what was discussed in McMahon and Khan's meeting that took place in July of last year. During, I believe this was Thursday's edition of the Coach and Bro Show, former WWE broadcaster Jonathan Coachman stated that Shane McMahon asked Khan for equity in All Elite Wrestling and is said to have wanted to come into the company to run it. Coachman added that Khan ultimately, quote unquote, ghosted McMahon after that. While Fightful was unable to verify the claim that McMahon wanted equity in the company, a source close to McMahon reportedly confirmed the claim that Khan did not follow up with McMahon later on. Additionally, the source reportedly claimed that McMahon did say he wanted to run things in AEW, but he didn't have the product knowledge or familiarity with AEW or their business model that would likely be necessary for that role. The anonymous source also reportedly stated that McMahon didn't take Khan not following up with him after their meeting personally. Additionally, it was stated that it appeared that Khan thought that Shane was joking when he mentioned the idea of running things in AEW. The anonymous source close to McMahon also explained that McMahon viewed his insight and abilities to run a wrestling show as valuable after years of seeing fans and people in the industry wanting anyone except his father, Vince McMahon, in such a role. Fightful Select reports that there was never a plan to have Shane McMahon appear on AEW programming or take an active role in the product. Sources within AEW indicated that Tony Khan didn't speak about the meeting very much, outside of noting that both sides sat down together for a single meeting and aren't working together. Fightful also notes that the source close to Shane McMahon claimed that they still wouldn't rule out a possible cameo appearance for Shane in AEW. However, the source doesn't expect the two sides to do extensive business together at this moment.
Very interesting. Very interesting.
Yo, Tony Khan said, "Fuck out of here."
Right, you're not gonna try to come take my shit. Fuck you, nigga.
Krssi, you coming to try to take my shit?
Try to take
What?
my
Cause your daddy ran the other company.
No thanks.
This is one of the funniest reports in a very long time. I must say. Tony Khan ghosted.
Yeah.
He ghosted him.
Was that before or after your mom's hearing?
Oh, shit. Oh, damn.
That was a good one. That's a good one. Holy shit. Oh man, Shane, yo, what is homie? Like, dog, what are we doing? What are we doing? Wait, he really thought he was just gonna come into the company and run shit?
I mean, I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised by it one bit.
Me either.
Once I saw like how things, not only that, but then when it just didn't come about again, I was like, yeah, they're not working together. I was like, I didn't know reasoning why, but now because I know why, I'm like, it's not surprising. Again, people like Shane. I think Shane's a likable guy. But also what people tend to forget is that Shane, you know, he's his father's son, for a reason.
Yeah, he want to be in charge. He want to take control of everything. So he learned from
different. And this kind of reminded me of the last appearance he was on for the Royal Rumble.
Yeah.
So that's how it comes off. So to me, it feels like this guy probably didn't learn his lesson last time, and now he's just he probably thought he could get a fast one on Tony. He probably thought Tony was gonna give him what he wanted because it's Shane McMahon and he has the experience.
Yep.
Good for Tony. He was self-aware this time, and he's like, "Fuck no." It's good for him.
It's very much a badge of honor for Tony Khan, because I really feel like late stage WCW or Dixie Carter when she was in TNA would have said yes to Shane. Would have said yes.
Yes, absolutely, for sure.
Yeah, because it would have been because in those aspects it would have been like a real desperate move to do it, right? AEW, they at that time they weren't doing well. However, they weren't at a point where it's like, oh my God, we need this and that, right? Like we need like a Shane McMahon to turn things around. Why? Because they're already getting their new TV rights deal. It was already in set place. It was just a matter of when it was going to be announced. So it wasn't a situation where it was like they need Shane McMahon. I thought the idea of Shane McMahon would be intriguing, and I think like if you was to put like a filter within Shane McMahon, I think that would be that kind of would have been like an interesting move. But the moment that you try to, you're trying to take control of everything without you knowing the product, without you knowing the talent, without you knowing a lot of things that they're doing, it's like, bro, you're overselling yourself. And not only you're overselling yourself, but did we forget that Vince chose Stephanie McMahon to run WWE for a reason?
Yep.
I'm just saying.
Ding ding.
Yeah,
ding.
he chose his daughter over you, bro. Like, and then he chose his son-in-law over you, bro.
Like, you obviously can't do this job.
I don't think it's so much that he can't. I think it's the fact that he's trying to ask for more than what they probably feel like he kind of deserves.
Okay, that's fair.
I can see that.
Yeah.
That's a fair assessment.
Definitely fair, yeah.
All right, finish up with some AEW notes before we get into Dynamite. The AEW Grand Slam Australia happened last Saturday, like we said before. It was at the Brisbane Entertainment Center, but it was initially supposed to be at the 52,000-seat Suncorp Stadium in the same city. The Wrestling Observer newsletter reports that the reason AEW was at the larger stadium was because of the Brisbane government. The government suggested that AEW hold the event at the stadium as they wanted to have major events there to prepare for the 2032 Olympics. When tickets didn't sell enough for the venue that big, it was moved to the entertainment center. That venue is the usual home for major wrestling events in the city, and AEW Grand Slam Australia is now the largest gate that's ever taken place at the Brisbane Entertainment Center for a wrestling event. 11,000 people were in attendance, and their gate was over $1 million. So big business for Grand Slam. And the show, despite all the trials and tribulations and me ripping them apart for the promotion of the show repeatedly over the last couple of weeks, it did deliver on business wise and quality wise. So, gotta tip the hat to that.
Exactly.
You know, I did hear about that, but I didn't want to mention it about like the government, because I did hear like I heard they had something to do with that they wanted them at the stadium show, but I didn't know how true that was. So for you to say that now, I was like, oh, so that actually was true. They wanted them at the stadium. They probably AEW, I don't think, wanted the stadium.
Nah, they probably knew they weren't going to sell out that stadium.
Right. That's why
it's in Brisbane. It's not Sydney or Melbourne. Like, you know,
and
that's
it's still
the point. They wasn't into like the bigger,
I mean, and at least like it ended up working out. Like they did good.
Yeah.
They did a good gate, and then the crowd again. Like I said, the crowd showed the fuck up, because that kind of didn't really look like an AEW show. Like a crowd, like the way they shot it and the way they were showing every angle, I was like, holy shit. I was like, this is kind of a big arena.
Yeah, it cannot be anything. It cannot be viewed as anything other than a success for what it was, and what they delivered. It might have not been what people expected initially for the event, but it definitely delivered on the night. And for the most part, from everyone that I saw on like social media and those that I've spoken to that went to the event, they were 100% satisfied with what they got.
Same. There's a lot of people on my Instagram that they went. They were doing videos, and they said they absolutely loved it. They said it was like the most fun they had at a wrestling show in a long time. So it's a good thing. It's a good thing.
Very good. Yeah.
Yeah. Good thing for them. And then final note, PW Insider reports that the entire AEW pay-per-view library will be available to stream on Max starting on March 1st. With 30 events coming to the service. Currently, the streaming service only has pay-per-views from special events from 2019. Starting in March, events from 2020, 2021, 2022, 2023, and 2024 will be added, completing the collection. This will mean all 35 AEW pay-per-views will be available, which is a big thing, man. They're starting to get that material moving. I think I rewatched half of the first episode of Dynamite on Max. Man, so much has changed since then.
Okay.
Oh,
they had MJF versus Brandon Cutler on that first episode. I almost forgot that.
Even production, like you could see, like, oh man,
it looks different.
Night and day.
Yeah, much different product there, but yeah, I think it is going to be like we're going to see as the year goes on what kind of like what Max does as far as improvements for AEW. But I said it the last couple of weeks that I think that the promotion has gotten better for the company with Max. So we'll see what happens moving forward as they get more material on that platform. But let's get into AEW Dynamite this week. The show did 563,000 viewers. It is down from the last couple of weeks, so not doing so well there as far as the ratings. But once again, I think it was another very good show. The show featured MJF and Hangman Adam Page having a tremendous back and forth promo exchange to set up their AEW Revolution match, where MJF went over their history together, dating back to the first AEW event, Double or Nothing 2019. Max's jealousy towards Hangman for the fans forgiving him for all of his evil deeds. The fans popped big for Hangman burning down Swerve's house, which was hilarious. After Hangman told MJF the difference between them is that he's real, Max spit in his face, leading to Hangman snapping and attacking all the security and officials until Christopher Daniels came down to stop him and told him that this is the person that he's been fighting for. This sets up Hangman Adam Page versus MJF at Revolution on Sunday, March 9th. Meanwhile, you had Orange Cassidy beat Roderick Strong in a good main event to move on to face Konosuke Takeshita for the AEW International Championship next week. Post-match, the Don Callis family jumped OC until Kenny Omega made the save and fought with Orange against the fam to close out the broadcast, holding up the AEW International Championship. Powerhouse Hobbs defeated Big Bill in a very fun street fight. The Ops beat the Patriarchy in a solid opener. You had a good old horse fight between these two ladies, Megan Bayne defeating Chris Statlander. Unfortunately, the post-match totally ruined all of this as Penelope Ford got involved, and then post-match Bayne and Ford jumped Statlander until Thunder Rosa came out with a chair and did absolutely nothing in a very weird angle. It almost felt like Megan Bayne and Penelope Ford was sabotaging Thunder Rosa. Like, this made her look horrible. It was awful.
Yep.
Timeless Toni Storm cut a fabulous promo to celebrate her title win, where she talked about her small package and how Mariah May got railed by the biggest package she's ever seen in her life.
That was
Tony never changed.
Great.
Never changed. Tony.
So good.
Then you got Mercedes Moné cut a promo on her win over Harley Cameron, while Momo Watanabe announced that she was cashing in her International Women's Cup victory for a shot at Mercedes TBS Championship. What? And then finally, you had Ricochet cut an excellent promo bragging about his win over Swerve Strickland. Probably the best promo of Ricochet's career here. But Prince Nana came out and to confront Ricochet over the Embassy Crown Jewel robe, wanting it back. But Ricochet told him to take it and then left, basically laughing in Nana's face. I really feel I've sold myself on this idea, and it was other people who kind of put it in my head, but I've sold myself on it. I really want Nana to turn on Swerve and align with Ricochet. Yes. So no, I don't care. I don't care if it's gonna break all of y'all hearts. I don't care. Do it. Because it makes all the world of sense because of the promo they did last week where Nana confronted Swerve and was like, why do you have to make all your feuds so personal? And the reason why he's questioning him is because now him making it so personal is affecting him because he took the robe that meant so much to him. And he's been telling Swerve for months. He's been telling Swerve, you need to focus on getting the world title back. And you have Ricochet here who got the win over Swerve, and now he's like, I'm going after gold. I'm focused on going after the gold. So he's basically doing everything that Nana wants from Swerve. So I think that it would make so much sense if Nana turned on Swerve. What do y'all think?
I mean, I'm not mad at. I mean, I would be sad about it, but I like the angle of doing it differently. Like, you don't listen to me. I'm here to advocate for you, and I'm telling you to do something. You're not listening. This guy right here, he listens. So it can change the dynamics of, you know, having something for Ricochet to make Ricochet more like relevant and like have him more, you know, have someone have as a mouthpiece maybe for him so he doesn't speak that much. But you know, hey, I wouldn't be mad at it.
What do you think, Josh?
I wouldn't be mad at it, and it's something I didn't even think that would be possible. But you know, like listening to what you said about like, hey, Ricochet's doing this now, doing that, and Swerve is doing the opposite of that. It makes sense in the storyline base. It does make sense when it comes to that. So I mean, I wouldn't be too mad at it. I just hope they would do it, you know, in a way where, you know, people are more sad and upset in that aspect of the storyline wise than like being upset that it happened. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, I feel like this would be like Paul Bearer turning on the Undertaker for AEW fans.
Yeah, and I think that it should be like it should be that feeling instead of like something like a move. It's like, oh, why did you do this? What the fuck? This would make more sense because of that.
Which, why the fuck did you do this? Is what I was thinking for that whole post match with Chris Statlander.
That was so cringy. That was so cringy. Oh my god!
To me, it was when it came to that. To me, it came off at first that maybe somebody missed their cue. That's how it came off to me first, and then when I was looking at it again, I was just like, then it looked like I was like, what the fuck? I mean, I would love to ask Rosa, hey, what was that about? Like, maybe she spoke about it.
You do nothing. Like, what was the whole point you coming out there for?
Were you supposed to?
No. Funny enough, she wasn't on Busted Open Radio yesterday, so she hasn't addressed it yet.
Yeah, so it was like it's one of those things where I'm like, I would love to see what she says about that because that whole angle was confusing. Minus that, I like what they've been doing with Megan Bayne. They've been making her feel like a dominant force, where strong, that was one of the things like I was hoping for, and they've made it look important. And then everything else was good. Ricochet's promo itself was great. The crowd too was great, and I like the venue they were at. It was a unique venue, kind of like a theater kind of venue. And
the acoustics was really well because the crowd sounded loud as hell.
Yeah, because like I'm not too big on theater venues for wrestling. I only like it if it makes sense. Like if it looks good and it makes sense. Some theaters could pull it off, some can't. Like and, like the MSG theater really can't pull off wrestling in my opinion. But this one
that's gonna be hard for NXT. Well. That's gonna be hard. It worked really well. That around,
and the opening segment I thought was great. The back and forth between Hangman and MJF.
Correct.
There was only one person who complained about it, but that person doesn't really have good taste in wrestling. But everybody else loved it, so it was great. It was great.
Yeah, I thought they played off of each other's characters very well, and this felt like the first time in a very long while that we got a genuine, fantastic MJF promo.
Yeah. Yes, and I'm kind of glad. Like I said before, I feel the way that I feel about Jeff Jarrett, but I'm kind of glad he got away from that.
Yeah, he did. He needed to though, because
he needed to. No, I agree. They really needed to.
Listen, bro, you're here for a while. You're here for a good time, not a long time. And I need you to just stick to those things. We don't need you to be doing all these little things, these subliminal things. Like, bro, we know you're not winning any championships. Let's just stop that unless you make your own. Like Taz.
I agree with All in the Game. The post match was more on Ford and Bane. Just get out the ring, your heels. Just get out the ring.
Get out the ring, yeah. It took them too long. It's like everyone didn't know what they were supposed to be doing.
Yeah, Dion's right. They basically no-sold Thunder's running. Like, it's like what are we doing?
Why are you even here? Like, y'all should have been like bullies or like, yo, who are you? Like, like make it.
I would have hit them for real. I would have hit them for real. I wouldn't have done all of
that. Was this. Stupid. Like you should have done that. Like you should
maybe that's what probably happened.
Was heavy. Like something just didn't look right. Something was wrong. So.
Yeah, I think that's how it comes off to me now. Like looking back at it, I was like, maybe it was that they were supposed to maybe do something and they didn't do it. It's kind of like remember when I remember New Japan where Kenny Omega was getting jumped and then fucking Ibushi came in with the chair and then everybody like scattered. Remember that? Like motherfuckers scattered. That's probably what they should have done. Like you're not looking weak, you're just getting the fuck out of the ring and you're heel, so it's not gonna make you look weak.
Exactly.
It was weird, and I'm like, I mean, it's unfortunate, but I don't think it's gonna like a week from now, people are not gonna talk about it. So that's a good thing.
No, but it does support. I think it was Brian Alvarez and over on Wrestling Observer. They made the argument that AEW needs to have production meetings, and I'm like, why the fuck don't they?
I agree with that. I agree with that. Like, I do agree that
That's
they
the
need
part that you be
something.
like, what are you guys doing over there as a company? Like, your product is like the prime example of like what people are seeing. You want people to see your product, and you're not giving the workmanship in your product. It's like it really shows that you really don't care.
No, I don't think.
I wouldn't say he don't care. He just
Yeah.
thinks that he don't have time for it, and you do need to make time for it.
Yeah, exactly. I think it's more so that.
You're doing walkthroughs and everything for when you're doing the tapings of your show. Why are you not having production meetings? That should be like right on Mondays. Every Monday morning at 10 a.m. we're having a production meeting.
Great.
I mean, I don't know what they're doing at 10 a.m., but I'm just saying, like, it should be in the schedule.
Or just before the show. Just before the show.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, there's some good points with that. Like, I do agree with something like that needs to be implemented and to be more clear, because, like, I don't know how they go things about that, but that's one of the things that could change. It could be a big difference. You never know.
Yeah. All right, but finishing up with AEW news here, you had AZ Central reports that this year's AEW Double or Nothing pay-per-view will take place from the Desert Diamond Arena in Glendale, Arizona. Arizona was the site of this week's Dynamite. Tony Khan said on the big move where Double or Nothing will be going to Glendale, Arizona on May 25th. Tickets go on sale on Monday. He said, "We put on the best pay-per-view events in the wrestling business. The fans in the Phoenix area have been so incredible for AEW. We've done several shows around Phoenix, and we've had great support from the fans. I had said after an amazing AEW event in Phoenix in the past that we would bring these great fans a pay-per-view event because they deserve it, and we have the best roster of wrestlers in the world." AEW typically holds its annual Double or Nothing event in Las Vegas, other than the pandemic years when it took place from Daly's Place in Jacksonville, Florida. However, this year's event is taking place in Glendale, Arizona. According to the Wrestling Observer newsletter, the change happened because AEW didn't want to hold their pay-per-view event, which takes place on May 25th in Las Vegas, so soon after WrestleMania 41 in the same area. It would be roughly a month after WWE's event, which takes place on April 19th and 20th. This seems like a no-brainer. This was the right move.
Mm-hmm.
WWE is the hot ticket. WWE is going to spend all people's money for Las Vegas that they ain't going to be ready to come back in the next month.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
It's a good move, and I think but also it's a move that people have been asking for a while. Like, get away from Vegas for a little bit. It was kind of being one of those things where it's like it kind of got exhausting, so going to Arizona, it's a good move. I like it. And I think they're gonna have a good turnout in Arizona as well.
They should. I'm sure Stephanie will make her way over there.
She's already advertising it on her social media. Yeah, I told her. I said, Stephanie, you better go. I gotta live vicariously through you.
Right.
And then finally, PW Insider had an update on both Sky Blue and Luchasaurus, who have been out of action and on a hiatus due to health issues. In the case of Blue, she broke her ankle in July. Luchasaurus was hospitalized due to getting pneumonia on both of his lungs last year. While there have been rumors that both are medically cleared and will return soon, that is not the case. It was noted, however, that Blue was backstage at AEW Grand Slam Australia to support her partner, Kyle Fletcher. So hopefully we get some better updates on both of those. To finish up with the Converse, you had AEW ROH Global Wars. They did a special from Australia that was taped after AEW Grand Slam Australia. That show featured Athena beating Alex Windsor in a very good main event to retain the ROH Women's World Championship. Bandito and the Outrunners defeating the Learning Tree, with Bandito pinning ROH World Champion Chris Jericho to set up a title match for tonight's Collision. Post-match, Big Bill attacked the babyfaces until Powerhouse Hobbs made the save. The Sons of Texas beat MXM Collection to retain the ROH World Tag Team titles, and Lee Moriarty defeated Robbie Eagles in a very good bout to retain the ROH Pure title. Meanwhile, on ROH TV on Honor Club, that show featured CMLL's Hechicero leading a team of Barrio Cavanaro and Sobrano Jr., defeating Sammy Guevara, Friego, and Dark Panther due to interference from MXM Collection in a very fun trios main event. Billy Starks beat Hyan. Wheeler Yuta made his return to ROH in a victory over Fiego del Sol. Post-match, Yuta choked out Fiego with a surfboard with a chain around his neck, and Commander defeated Lee Johnson in a solid bout to retain the Ring of Honor TV title. And then finally, to finish off what we missed with TNA Impact, that show featured Joe Hendry kicking off the program with another live in concert celebration. This was interrupted by the Colognes, and then was interrupted by the debuting Elijah. So if you like mid-2010s mid-card acts from WWE, TNA had you covered this week, as the main event saw Hendry and Elijah defeat the Colognes. The Rascals defeated Tyreek and Tyson. Then post-match, Wesley challenged the Rascals and Ace Austin to a trios matchup at Sacrifice next month. Tessa Blanchard decided not to compete despite being advertised and got booed out of the building and got "You're a Racist" chant. Also, she got a great chant. Tessa, we coming for you. Tessa, we coming for you. Tessa, we coming for you.
That was probably the best part. Oh my god.
I think she couldn't do it.
Because they've been doing it for Booker. When Booker T comes out for NXT, they've been doing but they say Hogan, we coming for you. Hogan, we come. So they've been doing it for Booker T, but the fact that not only TNA is taped, but the fact that they left that in, oh my god.
Right.
Oh my god, the fact that he left that in made it so much better.
But the fact that that she couldn't, and I don't, if she's self-aware of why they're doing it though.
I think she is self-aware why they're doing it. She just doesn't want to apologize, and that's going to be.
She's not going to acknowledge it.
No.
Yeah. She's just doubling down on basically the aspect of not owning up to it. That's basically what it is.
Yeah. Santino announced that Tessa has to compete next week or she will be fired, which the fan says don't wrestle. Masha Slamovich came out and took her matchup to get a quick Slamovich got a quick squash victory, but post-match Cora Jade jumped her and laid her out to set up a TNA Knockouts World Championship match at Sacrifice. JDC beat Leon Slater in a decent no DQ match. Post-match, the System jumped Slater until the Hardys made the save. When the numbers got the better of the babyfaces, NXT champion Oba Femi made a special appearance to make the save. And to talk about the big signing, Elijah made his debut on TNA. Fightful Select confirms that he signed a contract with the company. There have been reports that Elijah had signed with AEW ROH after he filmed a vignette with The Righteous, but that has been debunked. And there's still no word on why he filmed that video with the group, who are still contracted to AEW and ROH. And also, Sports Illustrated this week announced that Mackenzie Mitchell has signed on as the official ring announcer for TNA Wrestling as well. So that is all from what we missed this week in wrestling. What a week it's been in pro wrestling. And thank you guys in the chat. We got some super chat donations to go through here. We got Chuck Berries. Thank you so much for the super chat donation. He says, instead of calling Adam Copeland Cope, why don't we refer to Ricochet as Rico? Unless that name is still trademarked by WWE, LOL. Kind of sounds cool, in my opinion. What do y'all think?
I mean, I don't mind it for sure. Rico, I mean, that's a common name. WWE can't own that. Like, that's Rico. Like, that's, I mean, that's a weird thing to own. And that would be kind of weird for WWE to even attempt that. But I mean, I don't mind Rico, especially being heel. I wouldn't mind it too much. Yeah, sounds reasonable.
Yeah, I wouldn't be mad at it.
Then we got Chuck Berries with another super chat donation. Thank you so much, Chuck Berries. He says, seriously, though, I am very impressed with Ricochet's character work recently, and I'm happy to see him shine. I would say Ricochet is now in my top 5 best characters in pro wrestling right now. It's Ricochet, in no order. It's Ricochet, Hangman Adam Page, Timeless Toni Storm, Kevin Owens, and Gabe Kidd.
Those are fair.
Yeah.
Those are the best characters in wrestling to me right now.
I'm not mad at
Then you finally got Call Me Mr. Bonda. Thank you so much for the super chat donation. He says, TNA, let's get the most mediocre wrestlers ever. Or alive. Wrestlers alive. Yes. I was like, it's one thing to get Elijah. Elijah is someone that another company seemingly looked like they wanted as well. To get the Colognes who nobody wanted, you're just defining your company down, in my opinion.
And I didn't even know they were still like working. I didn't even know they were still like. And so when I heard that, I was like, "What the fuck? Like, really?" Like, that's why I used that Chris Paul meme. Remember, I was like down by 42. I was like, "You lose Alexander, you lose Speedball. Guess what? You get the Colognes.
You get the
Cologne.
How did you know real good as
Thank you so much for the super chat donations. Final call for super chat donations. We're 2 away from hitting our goal. If you want a Q&A with me and Josh tomorrow here on the channel for our members, but we're going to finish things off as we usually do with our best and worst of the week. Krssi Love, let's start with you. Who had the best week this week? Who had the worst?
I'm going to say best of the week can go to AEW.
All right. That's a good show. That's a good show. Worst of the week?
Shane McMahon.
Homie got ghosted. No, we got ghosted.
He tried to do a hostile takeover and got shut the fuck down and ghosted.
Josh, what about you? Best and worst?
Best of the week, I'm gonna go with Tony Khan. AEW has been doing some good shows. Apparently, he's back in taking notes with creative. He's the one that's kind of been more involved with creative.
To that, you'll be a winner.
And he like you said, he ghosted Shane McMahon. He has some sense, and he said, "Fuck no," and he said, "No deal, fuck you." Worst of the week, gotta give it to Triple H.
Ooh.
Netflix on Raw was what it was. SmackDown was even worse. Yeah, it gotta be Paul Levesque.
Not mad at it. Yeah.
Good shout. Yeah, I'll go best of the week. I'll give it to AEW as a whole because they feel like they have momentum right now after a run of good shows. I'm not saying AEW's back yet. No, I'm not saying that.
No,
because they do this. They do this every year. They always have good runs going into Revolution. They always start off the year very well. Yep. I will say AEW is back when we get a good build to Double or Nothing. Because people say the drop-off comes after All Out and All In, and it does. But we have not had a good build to Double or Nothing in like 3 years. So if we get a good build to Double or Nothing, then I will say they're back. And worst of the week, it's got to be either Triple H or Shane McMahon. I'm going to say the McMahon family. There we go. Meet in the middle. In the middle, because it also should be mentioned that WWE did join in the memo for the what is her name? Damn it! Let me pull this up.
Janelle Grant.
Janelle Grant, yes, the Janelle Grant lawsuit. This week. Yeah.
Really?
I was like, oh, that's why Rock returned this week. Had to get that attention off of you. I get it. Makes sense. Makes sense.
All right, Nick Khan. I see you. All right, I see you, Nick Khan. Yep. Nick Khan.
Makes sense. I mean, yep. Always steering that pot very well. But yeah, they joined that lawsuit. So yeah, the whole McMahon family deserves worst of the week. Matches of the week, I have 10 as usual, so I'll go through this very quickly here. We got Stephanie Vicaire versus Fallon Henley from Vengeance Day at number 10. Number 9, Oba Femi, Austin Theory, and Grayson Waller from Vengeance Day. 8, Mercedes versus Harley Cameron. 7, Okada versus Buddy Matthews from Grand Slam Australia. Number 6, Ethan Page versus Javon Evans from Vengeance Day. Number 5, Julia versus Roxanne versus Bailey versus Cora from Vengeance Day. Number 4, Seth Rollins versus Finn Balor from Monday Night Raw. Number 3, Timeless Toni Storm versus Mariah May 2 from Grand Slam Australia. Number 2, Fraxium versus Briggs and Inamura from Vengeance Day. And number 1, easy, Omega and Ospreay versus Takeshita and Fletcher from Grand Slam Australia. Krssi.
I'm going to give you 5. Number 5 is going to be Stephanie Vicaire versus whatever that girl she beat. That girl, that match. That one.
Stephanie Vicaire and Fallon Henley.
That one. There you go. Number 4 is going to be Mercedes Moné and Carly. Number 3 will be damn. Shit, I had it all in my head. Now I can't remember. Anywho, number 3, number 3 is gonna be from Grand Slam. Is gonna be shit. Fuck, I had it.
Timeless Toni Storm and Mariah May.
That was my number 2. Sorry, I can't remember now.
Okada and Buddy.
Thank you, Okada and Buddy. Thank you, friend. That number 2 is going to be Timeless Toni Storm and Mariah May, and then number 1 is the opener from Grand Slam, which is Will Ospreay and
Kenny Omega, Takeshita and Fletcher.
There you go, friend.
Josh.
I'm going with 3. So number 3 was the Fatal 4-Way from Vengeance Day with the women.
I agree, Dion.
I know. Okay, listen. Okay, I be finishing my stuff though. See.
I literally have a notes tab that is every week. I start it. If a match is great, I just write it down. So I don't have to remember.
All right. No problem, Dion. I got you next week. When I make sure I have my list, I better see a good ass super chat in that fucking that next week, all right? With the talk all that shit. I got you, nigga.
Yo.
Second time, Krssi.
Sorry. Don't come for me unless I send for you.
Don't come for me unless I send for you. Damn, Dion. Dion was like, I was just joking.
I love you, though. There you go.
He said Stephanie Vicaire. What's her name?
See, he being a troll now.
He's still talking shit. He's still talking shit. Respect. That's a true heel. Say with your
chest. That's what I like. Yeah. I got you, bro.
Number 2.
Josh.
See, I done fucked up Josh's head. Now he can't remember his damn stuff. You know he had 3 matches and y'all fucked it all up for him. See what I'm saying?
No, number.
He was minding his business. No one said this.
Number 2 is the Tony versus Mariah, and number 1 was the opener for Grand Slam. Yo, that was too funny, man.
Oh man. And a moment.
It's just like the way she said it, and she's like, "You better talk all that shit." Like, yo,
talk all that shit. No problem. I got you son next week.
That was like, yo, I felt that. That's like I felt that.
Moment of the week, for better or worse, it's The Rock. I'm sorry.
It's The Rock, yeah. It's The Rock.
Rock promo.
Rock promo, yeah.
Rock.
Yeah. All right, we've made it to the end of this flagship podcast. I really thought we were not going to do over 3 hours, but this was so much fun. Thank you, Krssi Love. Thank you, Josh. Thank you, everyone in the chat. Thank you so much for all the super chat donations. And we have a new member of the channel, Big Hero Chris. Good to see you, good brother, joining up with us as a member. But Krssi Love, we'll give you the floor first. Let everybody know where they can follow you on social media and when they will see you again.
I do agree with this comment. Yes, she's very thick, low key. Stephanie Becker. Anywho, sorry. Yes. Hey guys, so you can. And then Big Chris goes, as I say, extra thick. Yeah. She's not extra. She's thick. She's getting there. But when you stand in the ring with other girls, she's the small of the three. Anywho, sorry. But you can follow me, Krssi Love _1, Tru Heel Krssi Love, or just my plain name. Follow us. SP, we didn't get to talk traders, but traders, another great episode. Yeah, we're gonna give our review once it's over, probably. God damn it, Danielle, she's done it again. She's fucking good.
Oh man, what a performance! What a performance!
The Oscar goes to give her the fucking award, yo. Like, she was in it. I felt so bad. I was like, fuck, Carolyn, you fucked it up. If you didn't watch, I'm sorry. Oh well. Yeah. But yeah, thank you guys. Come tune and see us next week. Thanks. Bye.
Josh.
You can follow me, JMPunk321, Instagram. Still suspended on X. At least I get to see news on that. At least I get to still see like some updates and news. But and then I'll be on tomorrow on the second channel for the Cobra Kai finale review.
Nice.
We'll be discussing the last 10 episodes, right? It was the last 10 episodes. So we'll be doing basically a full recap on that, on the second and third parts of the final season of Cobra Kai. I'll be catching up with the series myself, so I could give a good, fresh review on everything. And I'll be back next Saturday for THH.
Yes, indeed.
Nice.
You can follow me on the Twitter machine at Tru Heel SP3. You can follow the gang, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok at Tru Heel Heat, patreon.com/Tru Heel Heat. $3 a month gets you exclusive content. The best way to support us when we are not live here. Thank you so much for this episode. I feel like this is an all-timer just for Krssi Love alone. So for Krssi Love, for the True John Josh, it is me, your Tru Heel Phenom SP3. This has been Tru Heel Heat 317, Soul Snatching. We are signing off until next time.
Later.